Let me feel your love again.
Yo, what is going on, Papa Fam? Welcome to day 4 of the 5-day AI SaaS Challenge. Welcome back, everyone. I know yesterday was absolutely wild in terms of tech build, but you guys still blew me away and got the submissions in. I know it went from like 0 to 100 in terms of tech levels, but this is what it's about. The community came together, everyone helped each other out, and we still got hundreds of submissions. So absolutely crazy stuff. Today we're going to wrap up on the AI SaaS build, so you're going to have a complete SaaS app by the end of today's video. Get excited for this one. Let me know where you're watching from right now. Already a couple of hundred on stream. Absolutely incredible. YouTube, 62 people. Viewing room, literally got 500 already in the room. Viewing room. Jay, keep giving me updates. It's all good. I'm going to go ahead and jump into day 4. Welcome, everyone. I can see everyone tuning in right now in the chat. There we go. All right, guys. Welcome to day 5 of the AI SaaS Challenge. Boom. I will be addressing anything about API keys, OpenAI, all that stuff in today's video. Don't stress, I got you covered. I'm listening to the community, so I'm going to cover all of your questions today. We got India, Nigeria, Aiden, what's up? Aiden in the house, Australia, Kenya, USA, UK. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Welcome to the stream. We got Steve Watkins. There's definitely some OGs here who are literally repping it out through this challenge. So I'm going to go ahead and shout all of you out. Welcome to the stream, everyone. We've got Ohio in the house, Kenya, USA, Spain. That's it. South Africa is back and exhausted. I love it. All right, we got Spain. Oh, nice. All right, guys, we're going to go and jump into this one. Stick with me. I've made it streamlined today, so we can go ahead and get very, very quickly into the build. Yesterday, we did some cool stuff. We went ahead, set up, obviously we already done this in the day 2 of the build. Yesterday we did the Firebase storage file store, PDF rendering, chat functionality, and we went ahead and even had the My Documents being uploaded. So I'm going to log into an account, give a quick demo of yesterday, and then we're going to go ahead and literally fly through on this one. So let that load. This is where we got up to yesterday. If you submitted your homework, which a lot of you did, blew me away, honestly. Oh, I've got my other one running up. Okay, we're going to jump into the build. I'm going to show you that afterwards. All good. Let's dive into it, right? Upcoming agenda for today, day 4. We're going to finish the AI SaaS app, as I told you. We're going to implement Stripe checkout. So now is where it gets pretty serious in the sense of you can start charging a monthly recurring subscription for access to your SaaS product. And that means we need to limit the user's functionality based on if they're a free member or a pro member. So all of that is going to happen in today's video. We're going to build a beautiful pricing page. Yo, Frank in the house, $5 donation. He goes, let's get sassy, Papa Fan. That's what I'm talking about. We got OGs in the house here. So we're going to limit the functionality for free and pro plans. We're going to implement the delete functionality, so that way you can actually go ahead and delete the documents for the user, and the download functionality. And then of course we're going to deploy the app, so you go ahead and do your thing with it, right? And obviously that's going to count towards the point system later on today. And I do want to mention as well, completely forgot what I was going to say actually. Oh yeah, we're going to do webhooks. There we go. We're going to do webhooks as well. So loads of learning opportunities in today's video. Stick around, get your coffees ready, and dial in. It's going to be a lot of fun, right? Oh my God, the chat. Honestly, you guys blew me away in this challenge. Absolutely nuts. Remember, guys, if you haven't already, sign up to day 5 of the challenge over at this link right here, links.papareact.com/day 5. All you need to do is head over to the link on the screen right now. So you go ahead and see the viewing room. It's actually linked in the description down below. At the top, you'll see secure your day 5 seat by clicking here. If you haven't already done that, please do that, because I want you guys to go ahead and benefit from the final day training. If you go over to that screen, you'll see this. You just need to click on reserve my seat. Less than 24 hours away. I'm giving a full roadmap to AI development, to everything revolved around answering your questions. If AI is going to take my job, how we can go ahead and leverage it so we can get ahead of the developers who are leveraging it, and how you can go ahead and kickstart your development career in the 2024 and beyond. It's so delayed, the sound when it comes in for the donation. Crazy. But anyway, welcome. There you go. Super chats popping in. All right, guys. So make sure you reserve your seat. links.papareact.com/day 5. And I'm going to go ahead and go through all of the things that you see on the screen right now. So tons of stuff ready. Get your coffees ready as well, right? What can you win in this challenge? A quick overview for anyone who's joining in. Remember, if you're joining in now, I keep seeing questions of, guys, can I jump in now? And I'm late to the challenge. I feel like I'm falling behind. Don't worry about it. Just jump in now. As long as you get your entries and submissions, and you can do it all night or tonight for all I care, and get into the submission before day 5, and you have a chance to win the prizes I'm about to talk about. So first place prize, we got a 34-inch ultra wide monitor. my complete diamond mentorship experience, including a one-on-one with me where I go ahead and literally build you out a custom roadmap. I do this with all of my Sapphire clients. So this is an invite-only mentorship experience. So we're going to literally give you that on a plate worth thousands. And we partnered up with Clerk, obviously, to give you guys the best authentication platform, period. It is what it is. And Clerk packs. So loads of stuff happening here. Second place, Keychron K2, sick keyboard. The developer OG keyboard gives you that little clickety clank feeling when you're typing in. I don't know what it is. I still can't get myself to use one, but it's amazing. We're giving you guys one, right? So that plus the course membership, plus everything access, all-inclusive access with the platinum membership and Clerk swag packs. Serum from Scotland, amazing Guffy goes, amazing stuff. Super proud of everyone on the work so far. Hashtag PapaFam. Thank you for the donation. I appreciate you. Aiden goes, bro, the membership would be crazy. And guys, for some of you that don't know yet or you're joining in late, some of our members in this challenge are youngsters. I'm never going to get over it. It's crazy. Aiden is one of them in the chat right now. Go ahead and chat away, but absolutely killing it. And they're submitting this level of work. It's unreal. Third place prize. We got the Clerk backpack with the Koto Paxi partnership. And we got the GitHub repo with Clerk swag packs as well. So tons to win. Honestly, it's going to be huge. And of course, there are thousands of people tuning into this challenge. I want to make sure everyone's winning something. So we've got participation goodies as well. Jay is on point with these gifts. All you need to do to go ahead and make sure Jay gets the love he deserves is hit the like button on the stream right now. I'll wait. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's go. All right. Make sure you do that. If you showed up yesterday, we emailed you with the Next.js handbook. Literally, we spent ages getting this stuff together. If you didn't get the email for whatever reason, head over to the school community. You should be a part of this if you signed up for the challenge already. Go to the classroom. At the top, you won't see any of these. I'm the owner, obviously, that's why you see that. But you want to click on 5-day full stack SaaS challenge. And then inside of here, day 3, you can see your free goodie is right there, right? Or you can go to the schedule, day 3. And at the bottom of day 3, you also see it there. We've literally given it in so many places. Or ask the community. Everyone happy to help each other out here, okay? So you went ahead and get this yesterday. Today, stick around. You're going to get the JavaScript handbook. This is awesome for the fundamentals. I actually have had this open before when I'm teaching a lot of student work, and it's actually incredible. It's really helpful. More incredible than I thought it would be. We also just hit over 2,000 viewers. Sick. I'm told you it's going to come back hot. Literally on YouTube, we're at 100 concurrent viewers, and in the viewing room, we're literally sitting at 1,950 at the moment, approximately, give or take. So absolutely huge right now. Everyone's tuning back into the challenge. I'm mind blown. So thank you for tuning in. Something on this channel is making you come back, so I appreciate you all. Right, show up tomorrow to get the freebie for the Tailwind CSS guide. Obviously, we're doing Tailwind CSS throughout this challenge. A lot of fun stuff to making our app look beautiful. You guys keep saying you love the designs, so this is literally going to help you get your design game up. And then we've got the complete AI SaaS app source code. Now that in itself is worth so much. It's unreal, and I think everyone can be a testament to this. The amount of work that I think you experienced in yesterday's homework submissions, it will give you an idea as to how much work went behind this. And I'm giving it all away for absolutely free. All you have to do is turn up tomorrow. That's it. You get the entire complete AI SaaS app source code emailed to you for free tomorrow. And obviously I've done that because I want everyone to have a chance at competing to build their own versions of this app before we announce winners. And then of course, everyone can get the app source code, right? Point systems. How do you win the points that I'm talking about, right? He's raving on about all these screens and stuff that he's giving away. How do you win it? Well, firstly, 1 point if you like and comment on any of the challenge videos. Some of you are literally going through my entire YouTube channel and liking everything, which is awesome. Thank you. But all the challenge videos, you get it. And subscribe to the channel. All you gotta do is hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, the bell notification icon. Do not miss any of my future videos. 2 points if you tag me on your stories. You guys have been so awesome at doing this. Literally grab your phone right now and go ahead and tag me on Instagram with the tag that you see on the screen right now using hashtag #PapaChallenge. It's been sick seeing you guys. Honestly, numbers behind the screen is one thing. Seeing the energy and actually seeing your setups, it's so cool when I can see your setup. If I can see your setup, like for example, we've got Siren right here. He's absolutely sick. He's showing every day his setup as he's working. It's so motivating. It makes me want to keep doing this forever. So honestly, just pull your phone out, tag me, and it's love. Absolutely love, right? 3 points if you help someone else out with their homework. Now, I really want to go ahead and say, Aiden, I agree with you. He goes, guys, there's 100 people here and the like count's less than the number of people in the video. Smash the like button. Make YouTube understand this video is worth something, right? So we're going to go ahead and show some of the examples of the community. This is absolutely huge because even in the chat right now, Delvin saying big shout out to Ivar Reina and Faizan Khan for helping out in the development in the community. Sunny saying the response is insane. Thank you for doing this for the devs out there. That's honestly been the number one thing I think has been highlighted throughout this challenge, the community. Just look at it, guys. Hein helping Ruptu out, right? Everyone in your development journey is going to get stuck. Period. It happens. I get stuck all the time. But look at this support in the community. Faizan, Stephen, Hein helping out Aiden. And everyone was literally like, I don't think there was a single point where no one conquered their problem, which is absolutely phenomenal, right? Somebody goes, I liked the video twice. I think then you've unliked it. So be careful, but I appreciate the energy, right? Relino from yesterday's feature, absolutely awesome. He went ahead and conquered his, he was stuck on something. And a lot of you did get stuck with the OpenAI key. I understand the frustration. I get it. That's just part of this game with the AI stuff. You need the API key to access your tokens, but you can go ahead and use something like Google Gemini or Bard or any of those others. But obviously I can't cover that in the challenge. But if you want to take that upon yourself, I'm happy to give bonus points. So somebody go and do that. I know someone will do it. Go and do that. I'll give you literally a huge amount of bonus points for doing that. And I'm going to explain something in the feature section, which was absolutely incredible that Hein did, which I thought was so clutch. It was incredible. 4 points as well if you refer someone to the challenge. 5 points for every homework submission. So obviously homework submissions have been flying in. I honestly thought yesterday would knock a lot of people out, but you guys surprise me every day. It's absolutely nuts. And a lot of you have actually submitted for all 5 days. So well done, right? 20 points if you submitted every day. So you got 5, 5, 5, 5, and then boom, 20 bonus points on top of that if you submit every day. Steven goes, if Sunny don't kill me first, 3 day was brutal. Day 3, I told you guys, I warned you all. I said day 3 was gonna be tough. But bonus points, right? 10 points if you implement Clerk. Go.clerk.com/Sunny. We've obviously partnered up with Clerk in this challenge, and you guys have seen it yourself. Authentication, easiest part of this build because of Clerk. And then we also had Clerk Elements. So if you implement Clerk, make sure you do it through this link, go.clerk.com/Sunny. That is honestly going to help me keep on doing stuff like this on the channel because it tells Clerk that you guys are coming from the challenge. That helps me do this stuff for absolutely free. Right, so that's the first thing. Clerk Elements as well. If you implemented that, which is basically customizing your sign-up flow yourself, so you got these beautiful little custom sign-in flows. If you did that, we awarded bonus points as well. Okay, so 10 points as well if your build gets featured. Jay, I swear to God, you kill me with these. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and if you've submitted your homework yesterday, which a lot of you did, absolutely nuts. Then we're gonna go ahead and highlight you guys now. And obviously, if you post valuable content in the community, more likes you get, the more points, right? So, like I said before, literally before we jump into some featured things right now, like feature submissions, links.papareact.com/day5. The link is in the description. Sign up for the final day. Okay, that is so important. Sign up for that final day. That's going to be the day where you just literally can sit back with your coffee, enjoy the value that is going to be thrown at you. I'm throwing so much at you that day, and you're just going to learn a ton. It's going to be the fun kind of, pull it all together vibe tomorrow, and you guys are going to see what the community is all about. Yesterday's homework: setting up Firebase storage in Firestore, implementing the PDF rendering, the AI chat functionality, and the ability to see all of our documents once they were uploaded, and then obviously deployed to the Vercel, right? That was brutal. It was actually brutal. LangChain, OpenAI, loads of AI stuff happening. Oh, this song's a banger, right? Let's go ahead and go through some of the submissions. 250 we got. I was amazed. I'm not gonna lie to you. We had like 3,000 submissions on day 2 because obviously the simplicity was there, and I was like, yeah, I feel like I don't know if everyone's gonna be able to do this, right? And I'm so proud of this community. 250 plus submissions, and that is huge given the intensity that we did yesterday. So I thought maybe 100 max, right? But 250 plus, and right now Jay's refreshing it, and I think we hit over 300. So you guys are still literally, as I'm live, submitting homework, so huge, right? We tested out the submissions. We're gonna go ahead and cover some of these. So if you make some noise right now, we got fire in the crowd, I see it, right? If you go ahead and submit your homework now, it's gonna count towards tomorrow, so don't worry about it. But let's go through some of the examples. We've got Samuel Painstill. He's got the PDF Whisperer. Firstly, what a sick name, PDF Whisperer. I love that, right? Done the whole build clean. The UI is clean. Everything looks nice. And the responsiveness works perfectly good. I love it, right? Firstly, well done. We've got Hein. Hein, dude, you are so honestly sick. I swear to God, I love this. Firstly, PayPal, love that. But basically, he DM'd me saying he had an issue with the OpenAI key. So rather than quitting and rather than saying I can't do it, he created another feature using Zastan to handle the global state management. And he literally went ahead and said, you can use your own API key, as in OpenAI key. And he built that feature in. So what happens is on his web app, something slides out the side. You click on use your own key. You pop in your key. And now all the requests are using your key. I'm doubling his points, period. You're not getting 10, you're getting 20, period. You're getting 20 points. That was what I call initiative. That's what I call learning. I'm so proud of like that kind of movement. So thank you so much. Doesn't let anything block him. We've got Cello here. We've got Smart Chat Docs, amazing stuff as well. And what I really like is you've gone to the point of adding glass morphism. I love that little design element. And she's changed up the layout. Awesome stuff. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Go that extra mile every single time. Stephen Watkins, love it. DocuBot, absolutely crushing it as well. He overcomes a lot of different tough elements in his build. He's also got a little toaster notification at the bottom right. Message successfully sent. Crushing it. Keep doing what you're doing. Let's go ahead and we've got Deepanshu, we've got Faizan. So both you guys absolutely awesome. The only thing I would say is please check the builds, guys. The text here, you see that little text slip? Text white should have been. Right, so make sure you're checking out your builds thoroughly. I think it was most likely due to the light and dark mode toggler. It can happen, it's okay, but you can go ahead and check that one out. Sunny loves hot toast for notifications. I do, they're sick. Right, we got Chat to PDF by Stephen Keo, absolutely clean build. So if you were featured right now, well done, guys. That's absolutely awesome. Keep doing what you're doing, and I hope to God that all of you, right, all 250 plus, I think now we're hitting 300 and so forth, and we're also at 2,500 people watching right now. So if you're watching this, loads of you watch it you know what I didn't expect? Loads of you watch it in the viewing room, which actually blew my mind. I thought YouTube would have the majority of you viewers. However, you're all watching it here, which is actually makes sense because I wasn't sure you were going to use this page, but apparently all of you prefer this page. So you can actually watch the whole stream on the viewing room, and then you've got the agenda, you've got the homework submission. So the link is in the description to go there, check it out. And obviously that makes a lot more sense to you guys because you're using it a lot more, right? So we're going to amp up the energy even more today. Comment right now. I'm not going to say that. I can't say it. I'm sponsored. I can't do that, right? LFG in the chat. LFG in the chat right now if you're excited for what we're about to do. We're going to go ahead and cover the day 5 agenda, and then we're going to go ahead and build it out. So like I said, before we get started, secure your seat. I don't want you to miss anything for absolutely free. links.papareact.com/day 5. We're going to go ahead and jump into it. As we go through today's build, make sure you, like I said, pull out your phone, tag me on Instagram, do all the la stuff. I'm going to go ahead and repost you. You guys can go ahead and be a part of this, right? Absolutely awesome stuff. I see you guys. All the flames, I see it, right? Day 4 today, like I said, we're going to finish the AI SaaS app. So what are we doing today? Essentially, we built all these cool features in our app. Now we're going to basically restrict. Now, I'm going to show you a little marketing strategy as well when we do this. We're going to give the user a very subtle taste of the app for free without even limiting them the normal way. Typically, when you go into an app, it's like you're free up until this certain point, and then it's like, no, I don't want to use it, right? So what I'm doing now is I'm limiting it. So you can basically send up to 3 messages in the chat, and then it will basically say, oh, you've hit a limit, and now you can go ahead and upgrade to the next screen. So these are all little conversion strategies which are proven to go ahead and increase your conversion to a pro plan. I'm showing you all of this for free, and we're going to go ahead and implement it with Stripe checkout for payments, right? So we're going to do that. Then we're going to go ahead and integrate our own custom webhook. This means that whenever anything happens on Stripe, such as the user cancels their subscription, their payment method fails for the 3rd time, or whatever the case, Stripe will fire off a webhook. We're going to build a custom endpoint which is going to listen to it, and you're going to do all of that today as well. So absolutely crazy stuff. We're going to build a beautiful pricing page to go ahead and have the upgrade stuff. So I'm going to show you, if I can get that up right now, that would be cool. Let me go ahead and just pull that up. Right now, I think I have it running on the side view. This is my production build right now. So if I check out the pricing page, we're going to go ahead and build out this page. I've got my, there we go, here. Right, you're going to have this. So supercharged document companion, starter plan, and a pro plan. So basically you can charge $5.99 a month. I'm going to show you how to do all of this. Great stuff, right? And obviously we are using Stripe. So naturally, if it doesn't work for you with Stripe, you can swap it with something like Lemon Squeezy, a very popular SaaS payment provider. It's actually a wrapper of Stripe, I think. But anyway, I'm not calling anyone out. It's actually a very cool app, right? And we're going to implement delete, download functionality, and then of course deploy. I promise you, if you made it through yesterday, today ain't that bad. Today is actually a fun version of yesterday without the trauma of development land. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into today's day 4 build. All right, guys, let's go and jump straight into it. So what I want to do, let's pull up yesterday's app. Okay, so localhost 3000 is where I'm running my app right now. If you have no idea where I got this code from, simply just go back a couple of days, re-follow the build out. Don't worry if the challenge is finished and you're watching a replay. Get it done, add it to your portfolio, launch your own SaaS. It's value. That's it, period. And plus, if you're going for job interviews and they ask you, oh, what experience do you have? You can be like, I built an entire SaaS, I launched it, I marked it. And they'll be like, how'd you learn that? Well, I tuned into day 5 at links.popreact.com/day 5. Plugged it smoothly. Okay, so you guys can check it out yourself, but that's basically going to be everything that's happening today. Okay, so we're going to dive straight into it where we left off. We have the home page here, we have our document view here. I think now we're basically going to go ahead and oh wait, I've got my little helper side thing messed up. Okay, yeah. So now we're going to go ahead and dive into a few things. So first things first, I want to go ahead and mention, firstly, let me know, by the way, guys, who enjoyed using Clerk Elements? I want to know your feedback on Clerk Elements. Bit of a random one, but I'm curious because I implemented it myself and I thought it was so clean, the experience. So let me know in the chat right now your experience with Clerk Elements and your experience with Clerk in general, and it will help me out in terms of moving forward, how and what we do moving with them. Right, so in this case, so we're going to jump into it. I want to go to my Stripe. Now, what you want to do, head over to Stripe, just literally Google it, right? I'm going to show you from scratch. Just go to Stripe. I'm going to launch it from Stripe. And a lot of you ask me, what is this? Like, what is my browser? I'm using Arc browser, very nice browser. I'm going to actually turn the music a little bit down right now because it's a bit too hype. All right. So in this case, go to stripe.com. And basically what Stripe is, it's a payment process. And you might be wondering, oh my God, I can handle payments myself. No, shut up. Don't do it. Okay. Keep it simple. Use something like Stripe. If you don't have Stripe, you can go ahead and use PayPal as a backup. I'm not a huge fan of PayPal, if I'm honest. We use it, we support it, but the development experience is very annoying compared to everything else, right? Stripe is my go-to for a lot of this stuff, especially SaaS work. Or Lemon Squeezy. Lemon Squeezy is very cool, right? Look at that, guys. Everyone's loving Clerk, right? Everyone goes, why is everyone using Arc browser? Just give it a try. It's actually very clean. I like it. I'm not sponsored by them, although shout out to Arc. Right, in this case, go ahead and log in. I've already logged in, so I'm going to click on the dashboard. Once you're set up, basically, you don't need to worry about setting up your production stuff just yet, right? In this case, I've set up a little storefront. I've got a bunch of demo apps here. Create your demo app, okay? Now, you should have a publishable key and a secret key. These are two things we're going to need in just a second, right? So make sure you keep all of this on the screen. Now, what I want you to do is go ahead and, oh, I didn't know Arc was only on Mac, Windows, Mac, yeah. But anyway, let's carry on. Right, but I want to mention as well, everything is in test mode. So when we're testing out our payments, don't worry, you don't need real credit cards or anything. They actually allow you to enter in these test cards to simulate what a payment is. We can simulate everything that we're going to be doing. So don't stress and all that kind of stuff. Oh, it is available on Windows now, right? So in this case, we're going to go ahead and pull open our app and actually get our little setup nice and neat. All right, now I hate the way my setup is. Let's go ahead and pop that over there. And what I like to do is open up a fresh one, pull this over there, and now that's it. I can go left for my dev, right for my research, I guess, let's call it, right? So localhost 3000, pull open this. So let's start things off from yesterday's build. I want to implement Stripe out of the box. So I want to build firstly the pricing page. That's a good little warm up for us. If I go to dashboard/upgrade, we have a 404 because we haven't built out that page. I obviously want to build out that beautiful looking pricing page that I just showed you a second ago. So in order to do that, we're going to go ahead and build out our endpoint. So first things first, heading back over into our code, we're going to go to app and then we dashboard. And then you see here, remember, it's folder based routing. So in this case, this would be /dashboard. And we have upgrade, right? So we haven't got a folder for upgrade. So that's why we're getting a 404 not found. So I'm going to create a folder inside of here and we're going to call it upgrade, right? Upgrade. And then inside of here, we're going to create a page.tsx file. I'm going to do RFCE, right? And then here, I'm just going to call it the pricing page. Okay, so the reason I'm calling it upgrade is because you won't be able to reach this page unless you're actually an authenticated user. Now, remember, there's lots of strategies you can do here, and I'm trying to make this as valuable as possible for you guys. I've gone down the route here with this SaaS app of basically in order to use the app, anyone can use the app and try it out. So the minute you go on that landing page, right, the first thing that we make you do is just click on get started, right? And then obviously you will log in and then you come to this page. So immediately we capture their email, right? So that way we can go ahead, we can retarget, we can do whatever we want to do because we have their contact details in there, right? Obviously you need certain permissions in different parts of the world, but the point is that we've captured them as a user. And now when you're using it, we're going to eventually limit their use case basically because we don't want to give this SaaS away for completely free. And then once we go ahead and have our upgrade options, we can enable them to do a Stripe checkout, upgrade their membership so they're paying a monthly recurring subscription towards you. This is known as the SaaS payment model. And then you can basically unlock their abilities, right, for the rest of the app. So the pricing page right here, what we're going to do is I'm just going to pull up my pricing page right now, and we're going to go ahead and get this built out. Now this one, again, is very much like the landing page, what we built. So it's very, very simple in my opinion of how you can just follow along with this bit. So we got our surrounding div, and I actually want to make it, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll pop this on the side over here. So let's pop this there. Let's pop this there so you guys can see. It's fully responsive, by the way. So very, very nice. We've got the surrounding div. We're going to have another 2 divs inside of here. Okay. It's actually a nested div, but that's fine. Let's put a div inside of here. And first things first, we've got the pricing itself and the supercharge your document companion, right? So inside this div, very simple bit of styling. Now, I'm not going to go over a lot of these things. We talked about this before. These are Tailwind CSS utility classes, so you guys can go ahead and check them out for yourself. And we also have this here. So obviously, remember the breakpoints. Once we hit a small and above screen, the text will get larger. So you can see supercharge your document companion. Looks really nice and slick, right? Now, obviously, right now it's touching the sides. I don't like that. It doesn't look clean. We're going to make it a little bit more neater. We're actually not going to style the outer div. We're going to style the inner div here. So this div here, I'm going to say is background white because I believe I was adding a little bit of a color around it. But even then, we don't necessarily need to. So, okay, leave the background white for now. Padding Y of 24. And I'm going to say on a larger screen and above, I want to increase my padding on the Y-axis to 32. Okay, so immediately it's pushed down. Okay, I want to center everything to be fair. Obviously, you can modify this. There's no rules here, right? Max width of 4XL. So that way, when we're on a bigger page, it will limit the width. So I'm going to get my pen out right now. And as you can see, this is actually limited the width to max width 4XL. The only thing that we need to do now is specify margin X of auto. So basically, it will automatically determine the left and right margins, and then it will shift the box into the center. So basically, that was actually a nice little visualization, right? And so what we do here is we say MX auto to say left margin, right margin, auto. And now how? Centered. Okay, so that's how we do it. Very, very simple. And then we can text center to make sure everything is aligned in the center. And immediately, look at that, it starts coming to life, right? We've got Maura in the house, coming a bit late. Hello, everyone. What's up? Good to have you here, dude. Again, let me know where you're watching from. I kind of missed the beginning. I saw a lot of places everyone's tuning in, but I always love to see it. Hypes me up a massive amount. So let me know where you're tuning in from right now. And if you're new here, welcome to the challenge. All right, so in this case, we've got div underneath here. I'm going to have a P tag underneath there. And basically, you can put whatever you want here. I'm just going to say, choose an affordable plan that's packed with the best features for interacting with your PDFs, enhancing productivity, and streamlining your workflow. Okay. Then I've gone ahead and added in a bunch of different bits of styling. And again, these parts for the tutorial purposes, you can really go ahead and just check it out yourself, right? It's a limited max width, which is why it's actually limited inside. But you can see very, very simple, straightforward. Okay. Somebody goes, well, I'm finishing the project today. Aiden goes, we're finishing the project today. Yes, we're finishing the project today, and there is homework for today. Exactly. Okay. Now, after that, we've got a div outside of it, and this is going to be where we have our pricing boxes. Okay. So inside this div, we've got the first div, and this is going to be for the first starter plan. So we're actually going to have 2 divs. One is going to be for the free plan. One is going to be for the pro plan. Okay. So in the first free tier, we're going to go ahead and have a starter plan and explore core features at no cost. Okay. So this is going to basically say, okay, on the left hand side, we're going to say this is going to be your free plan and you're already a part of this subscription. So super nice. I'm already a part of something. People love to get things for free. That's what we're basically going to be saying. Okay. So at this point, we've got the core features for absolutely no cost, free. Then we're going to have a unordered list with 3 different list icons inside of it, okay? So here, what we do is we pop in our unordered list. Now, what I'm going to show you is I just basically popped in this. If you really simplify this, I'm going to go ahead and show it like this. We've got our unordered list, and I'll go ahead and just show you without confusing everyone. That's the unordered list right there. Row is more for accessibility. Don't stress too much about understanding it. It's fine for now. But the class name, a bit of styling, and then I've got 3 list elements, and then we've got check icons, okay? So I'm going to show you right now the import statement. At the end of it, I got a lot of questions last time. How are you doing your auto imports? Well, you just head over to the end of the text, control spacebar, and you can see how I can import, right? And I just hit enter, and then it imports it at the top. So nice little trick there. And then with that already done, you see we've got a check mark icon next to our list elements, okay? So very, very straightforward. The only thing is right now, it doesn't look that nice, okay? So in order to style this first little box, I'm gonna go ahead and get the div that it's all encapsulated in. I'm gonna say ring 1. Immediately it has a ring around it, okay? I'm gonna make that ring a gray ring, 200. And I like doing this because I get to show you as I do it. I'm gonna say padding of 8. And as you can see, gives it a bit of spacing inside. I'm gonna say the height should be fitting, and then the padding bottom on the 12 should be 12 because it's gonna have a bit of spacing underneath it. Now the corners, I don't like it. I'm gonna say round the corners off. So rounded 3XL, very, very much rounded. And you can see immediately it's looking a lot nicer, but that's like obviously spanning the entire screen, which is not nice. So in the surrounding parent div, again, we follow the rules that we were doing. Max width, medium, MX auto, right? And it will immediately go ahead and restrict the view. There you go, that's a lot nicer. And then we're gonna say margin top of 10, so it pushes it away from the top. We're gonna say, and it's also gonna be a grid columns layout. Now, what does this mean? Okay, well, firstly, we have to enable the grid view. So in this case, we say it's gonna be a grid. By default on a mobile view, I want it to be a grid of 1. So obviously on a mobile view, they're gonna be stacked up. The starter plan and pro plan are gonna be stacked up. When I hit a medium view and above, I want it to go into a column of 2, so they're side by side, like a comparison. And that's going to allow me to see things a lot clearer, okay? I also want to increase the max width on the biggest screen of 2 to make it 2XL. So on a medium screen, I'm going to say max width 2XL, okay? So it's a lot nicer. And then what I can actually say here is I want to make sure that there's a gap between the 2 elements. So once I have the second element, this will be touching right now, and we can pretty much fix that very simply by just saying gap of 8, okay? And it'll basically give it a little bit of spacing in between. So final thing is on a larger screen, I want the max width to be a little bit bigger at 4XL, okay? So now as you see, as I increase the size, it will go ahead and basically accommodate. And now you can see, look, 50% is handled because this is going to be a 2-column view now. So in this case, this becomes a 2-column view. So you've got essentially, here's our grid, here's 1 column, and here's the other column. Okay, so it automatically will differentiate the sizing based on each side. And then as I go into a mobile view, it basically will flip and go to your 1 column, and that's why they're stacked up on top of each other. Very simple mobile responsive design, okay? So somebody goes, that looks so clean. Yeah, Siren, yeah, 100%. Like super easy. Jemmy Mystery, oh, welcome to the stream, Jemmy. We got some awesome diamond members in the house. You guys can see this for yourself. Look, starter plan looking good, okay? So that's the first thing. You should tell them like, yes, you're a part of this already, like start. You could even say active if you want to, but it'll make more sense as to why I haven't done that just yet. We'll do that afterwards. Now, second one, we're gonna go ahead and say div class, and I'm gonna go ahead and say ring of 2, because we wanna emphasize that one a bit more. This one's gonna be indigo 600, and then we're gonna say round the corners off by saying 3XL, and we're gonna give it a padding of 8, okay? Now inside of here, I'm going to do a few similar things. We're going to have pro plan, maximize productivity with pro features. Immediately, you guys can see what's happening, right? Look at this. It's looking super clean, right? And then underneath that, we're going to have the actual pricing. So I'm going to go ahead and span in my pricing like so. We've got a P tag. We've got spanned $5.99, which is going to be a bit bigger. So text 4XL, a bit bold. And then we've got the month, right? If you noticed here as well, I made it a flex container. So the 2 elements, the span and the 2 span elements are basically flexed against each other. However, items baseline make sure that the month sticks to the bottom of the row. Okay, so that's going to be something, just a little hack if you didn't know. Quick little water break as well. I actually stick electrolytes like in my drink now. So in case anyone's wondering, does he drink anything special? I'm not drinking any magic juice. I used to love when people were like, he's drinking vodka on a session. I'm like, no. I'm not. Although when I'm debugging, might help a couple of times. I ain't gonna lie. All right, so in this case, we got the button here. So pop open the button like so. And obviously that's been installed. Oh, my hearing just went a bit weird. Right, now, after that, we're gonna go ahead and say upgrade to Pro. Okay, and obviously down the line, what we're going to do is we're going to make this a dynamic button based on the user's current logged in state. Okay, now for the design here, I've actually got quite a lot of design for the button, so I'm going to pop it in, keep it on the screen. You can pause it and basically go ahead and style it as you wish. Right, so this is my design for the button. Now obviously there's quite a lot of stuff going on right now, but if you just break it down bit by bit, you'll kind of understand what the hell's going on. But that's essentially how I've got it looking like that. So very, very clean design, very slick, easy to understand. Okay, so that's the button, and then we've got the same principle with the unordered list. So in this case, let's go ahead and pop that in. We've got the unordered list. I'm going to go ahead and pop this in. Then we've got the closing brace, and then inside a couple of list elements. Okay, we've got the, I'm going to pop all 6 in, and then we can go ahead and see for ourselves. So here's all 6 right now, list elements. So you're starting from unordered list, store up to 20 documents, ability to delete up to 100 messages per document, full power AI chat functionality with memory recall, meaning it can read the previous messages, advanced analytics. Again, you can really make up whatever you want and add those features in yourself, and 24-hour support response time. I'm just giving you an example of what you could add in here and obviously implement those features. Now, I do want to mention as well, as I was talking about restricting the user, our free plan, we're going to basically set up a little plan right now. So free, we're going to say that the user can ask 3 messages in the document. Then what we're going to do is we're going to give them the maximum of having 2 documents. So if you think about it, when you join onto this platform, you actually have 2 documents and you can only ask 3 questions, and you can't delete a question. So that way, what we're doing is we're giving them a taster of, okay, I can ask a question to a document and this app works. Then they go and try and add another document to cheat it a little bit. And then they get to go ahead and see, okay, it works again. I actually really like this app. It could be useful. And then we limit, because they've hit the 3 message limits on both of those documents. And at that point, when they try to add a new one or try to do it, we send them to the upgrade page. And then we've basically got a nice little flow where they can test it out without them even realizing they're testing it out, thinking they've got full access. But then when it goes ahead and limits it, boom, you guys can go ahead and see it. Somebody goes, this channel, I just found it, it's cool. Is computer science degrees necessary nowadays? I've done the master's, done the computer science. You don't need to do it. Just tune in tomorrow. I'll give you a full training as to how you can go ahead and literally conquer in the dev space. Yeah, that's my honest advice. Tune in tomorrow. I promise you it'll be a huge value bomb for you. So as you can see now, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Supercharged pricing document, supercharged document companion. Me and Jay both did comp sci as well, by the way. All right, so starter plan, you don't need to. I'm telling you, just trust me. All right, it depends on what you're doing. Starter plan, pro plan, and then we've got the $5.99 a month upgrade to pro, and then store up to 20 documents, ability to delete, and so forth. So there you go. That's literally the pricing card done. Now we're gonna basically go ahead and make this interactive, have a few things behind it that goes ahead and tell us what the hell's going on. For firstly, this pricing page, we're gonna make it a client component. So we want to have a bit of interactive elements. So we say use client at the top. Nothing happens, nothing breaks, nothing changes. That's all good. We need to know if the user is logged in. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, yeah, I can definitely say if you're studying comp sci, by the way, I don't want to rule something out. If you're studying it, it's definitely going to help in terms of your understanding. You're going to learn a lot more stuff. Is it a necessary requirement is the difference here. The practical experience will take you a lot further, hence why having a lot of things in terms of like being self-taught, having your own apps that you can showcase, that will take you so far in terms of, and the reason why I say this is because I've done both routes. No one ever asked for the degree, unless you're doing machine learning down to the levels of model training and stuff like that. Even then, proof in the pudding is the way to go, in my opinion. And I'm saying it from someone who's spent a lot of money on that stuff, by the way. Yeah, so this is not a biased view. So const user equals use user, and we're going to go ahead and pull in our user like so. And again, just keep saving, make sure everything's working all well. Cool. At some point, we're going to redirect the user to a pricing page. For the Stripe checkouts, we're going to say use router, and make sure every time you pull in use router, it's from Next navigation. So super slick. I like this song. This is nice. Yeah. And then we're going to go ahead and actually pull in the user subscription, pull in users subscription. Now here, we're actually going to create our own custom hook called use subscription. And this one is really powerful, okay? So I'm actually gonna write this, and then we're gonna go ahead and get the functionality backed behind it over time, okay? So the first thing is we do go to our hooks. I'm gonna create a new hook called use subscription. And this is better than I've done in any other build. So you're in for a treat, and it's real time. It works so nicely, it's unreal. So in this case, we're gonna go ahead and do our RFCE trick. And here, this is gonna be a subscription. We're not gonna return anything like so. And then we're gonna go ahead and prepare a few pieces of state. First things first, we gotta write use client just to make sure that this is rendered only on the client. Now, once that's done, we're gonna go ahead and define two things, our pro limit and our free limit. And what do I mean by this? Well, in this case, we could say the number of, I believe it's the number of documents that I've limited here. Just double checking right now. How's active members? Yeah, so in this case, I think I've actually limited it to 20 documents, I believe. So we did, let me just double check what I limited it to. Yeah, so what we done is, because basically when we did Pinecone Vector Store, you can have up to 100 namespaces per index. So for the free tier, before we have to pay anything, to make sure you guys don't go over those limits, I basically said in the pro plan, users will get up to 20 documents and up to 100 messages inside of each document. This allows you to basically keep it within the free tier. Obviously, if you want to upgrade it, you can upgrade your plans. And all I want to stress here, guys, and I'll go over this a bit more tomorrow, your pricing strategy is really gold here, because I can run thousands of GPT prompts and it will cost maybe $2. And if someone's paying me $4.99 a month, that's relatively cheap to get access to a full production app. But you can see the trade-off, right? If I get two people doing it, I can do thousands, and they're not going to do thousands of prompts, right? So your scaling model is actually pretty awesome. As long as your app's optimized and built in a good way, you can make a lot of money with SaaS apps, right? So in this case, boom, we've got the use subscription. We're going to have two things here, cons pro plan and a cons free. So let's go ahead and pop this in. So we've got pro limit 20 documents, free limit 22 documents. So number of docs the user is allowed to have, right, on their plans. Okay. Now we're going to have, these tracks are coming out. These are OG tracks, right? Now we're going to have two pieces of state, has active membership, which is essentially going to reflect if the user is pro or not, and is over the file limit. So two things we're going to keep track of. We're also going to keep track of if the user is logged in. So in this case, we're going to grab their user status from Clerk. So we're going to go ahead and import that like so. So that's the three things that we're going to need. We're going to do a couple of use effects, and then eventually we're going to go ahead and return those so we can use this custom hook inside of our application. Okay, so a couple of things. Firstly, we're going to use some handy hooks from the library React Firebase hooks, which we used yesterday. Use collection and use document. Now the model is like so. Basically, we're going to update everything from Stripe via Webhooks. So this will be really, really cool. He can go, oh, that's kind of freaky. What the hell is that? Okay. Yeah. Geez, that was kind of a freaky comment. I ain't gonna lie. So in this case, I'm going to go back to chat with PDF challenge. I'm going to go back here. Now, in this case, what was I going to say? Yeah. So here, I want to show you an example. So if I go to my production version of the database, I want to show you here. Where is it? Let it load up. So the end goal here would be that for each user, what we will have is in the user's document himself, this will be the case. They have an active membership being true or false. And this is real time. So if the webhook fired off and it changed, we're going to real time listen to this. And then the Stripe customer ID. Okay, so this is going to be something which we're going to go ahead and tie very closely to. So what I want to do is I'm going to say const snapshot, and this is all from the what's it called? The React Firebase hooks documentation, right? So you can get the snapshot, you can get the loading state, and you can get an error state. And then we're going to say use document. Okay. Now inside of here, we have to pass in the document reference. Now, firstly, I only want to load this if the user is present. So I'm going to say if there is a user, then we're going to go ahead and access the document. And again, I'm pulling from Firebase Firestore. Remember, Firebase client, Firebase admin client, two different things. Firebase admin client, Node.js on the server stuff. Whenever we're on the client, we're handling Firebase only. JavaScript, Node.js, two different things. Okay, so in this case, we're back on the doc. So if we go ahead and say doc, I'm going to say DB, pull open my database, and then I'm going to say if the users load in, and then we've got the user's ID. Okay, the user's ID. And then we've got the files. Okay, so in this case, this is going to go ahead and pull the user's files. So we're going to have a real-time listener to the user's files. And the reason why we're going to do this is we're going to make sure that we understand that if the user goes over their file limit or not. And then the second argument, I'm going to say if any metadata changes, so like example, document properties and all that kind of stuff as well, it will go ahead and do it. It will go ahead and update our snapshot. Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing I need the number of files. Oh, sorry, I've messed this one up. DB users, user ID, don't do files here. Yeah, I've got it confused. You only want this one, use document. So this one is for the user. So I want to listen to the user document, right? Because obviously I want to know if their active membership changes. So that's the first thing. The second one was the one I was thinking about. So this is actually going to be the files snapshot. And obviously I don't always need my error loading states and so forth, but in this case I'm going to say files loading is the second argument. I don't really care about the files error. You can implement that if you want to. I'm going to say use collection. Okay. And here, very similar principle. I'm going to check if the user exists. Otherwise, I'm going to go for the collection. I'm going to go and say the DB users user ID, and basically I'm going to tag along to all their files. Okay, so all of the files. Wow, my cow digit almost flung on my leg. It's crazy. All right, so in this case, somebody says, can we use Razorpay? If you can't use Stripe, use any other provider that you want. As long as they got webhooks, you can basically tack into the webhook and do what you need to do. Obviously, I'm not going to cover anything besides Stripe, so that's up to you. But if you can, good on you. Okay. So in this case, files snapshot, we've got the file snapshot here. Now what we've got is we've got the users, listen to the files, the users files collection, okay? So we've got 2 real-time listeners now. So now what I want to do is I want to have 2 use effects. One is basically going to go ahead and listen to the active membership, and then it's going to toggle the state. If the user, for whatever reason, that changes on the if for whatever reason that changes on the database here, that will reflect in my app. It will pass on the value to my custom hook, and then my UI will reflect the change. And then the second use effect is going to be for whatever reason, if the user goes over the file limit, we will toggle our Boolean value. So that way on our UI, we can say, yeah, you're over the file limit. You can't do this, right? So that's the 2 things that we're going to do here. And again, you can see the power of this custom hook. I actually prefer it much more than the, now than the Firebase extension that I was previously using in previous challenges. So lots of benefits to this challenge. Okay, and guys, we're almost, just smash that like button, smash it right now, pause the video, smash this like button, carry on. All right, I was gonna shout that one out. All right, we're gonna say if no snapshot, we're gonna go ahead and return. So basically, if there is no user document, right, so it could be loading, whatnot, then we're going to go ahead and return. Our dependency here is a snapshot. So any variables that are in use here, we need to make sure we include that. So we're going to go ahead and pop that in. And then we're going to go ahead and jump through. And I also want to stress the point of, I know everyone's saying, it's not free, Guys, I do want to stress one thing. If you're trying to build a SaaS app and think of, I want to make 6 figures, I want to make like 10,000 a month. If you're not wanting to put a single dollar into it, the realism of that is just not, I'm sorry, but I'm the one to tell you, it's just not going to happen. Even if you put $5 into your, I don't know what I said there, $5 into your OpenAI account just to fund your first bunch of tokens, that's enough to get the thing working. And then your model will pay for itself once you get your first user. So this is reality of business. You have to put something in a lot of the time, right? But even then, $5, like people, like the thing that blows my mind, I'm not going to rant too much about this, I know I can get into it, but you're happy to spend thousands on uni, but you won't put 5 into an app that can make you thousands. I don't know. It's crazy. I'm here to slap that mindset out of a lot of you, right? So it's actually wild. So I'm trying to be realistic and show you there's a big way to succeed here, right? I'm going to say const data equals snapshot.data. Okay. So this will go ahead and get all of the data from the user document. So at this point, data snapshot.data will give me this back. So Greg Peters goes, preach, 100% facts, absolute facts, literally it. Aiden goes, I've spent 1 cent on it so far and be able to add a ton of value to the PDF and chats. Literally my point, 100%. It's so cheap. And yet you will spend $9.99 on a cheeseburger or something crazy. Like, change up the mindset. All right, guys, honestly, I'm here to be like your mentor and speak the truth to you and not like sugarcoat it. So I want you guys to succeed, which is why I'm being harsh. All right, so in this case, if there is no data coming back, you want to return, you want to cut it off. And then we're going to go ahead and say set has active membership to what active membership is here. Okay, so this is a Boolean value. So we're basically going to go ahead and set it. Now, this is an awesome thing, right? Right now, this in itself is enough to be a real-time listener to our logged in state, right? So in this active membership state, the clerk account setup link isn't working. It's only for me. Just go ahead and ask in the community. Probably a case of your VPN, maybe. Gemini is better in features than image reading Llama. Yeah, guys, feel free to use whatever you want to use in terms of LLM. It's completely up to you. So that's the first user effect done. Second user effect, right? So we're going to go and do the second one. This is for the user's files to make sure that if they're over the limit or not. Okay, so here we're going to say if that there is no file snapshot or the user hasn't yet got an active membership. Now this bit here, pay attention to, right? If it's loaded, it will either be true or false. What I'm saying here is by default, the initial loading of the app sets it to null. So this just basically means if it hasn't yet loaded. Now you can go this route, you can go down the route of having loading. It's completely up to you, but that's the thinking behind that. I do that pattern quite a lot when I'm working on apps. So I just want to share that. Right here, we're going to say const files equals files snapshot dot docs. And this will give me the number of docs that the user has. Okay, so if I've uploaded 3 PDFs, files will have a value of 3. Okay, in this case, we say const users limit. And basically what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and say, if the user has an active membership, then they're going to be allocated the pro limit. Otherwise, they're going to be allocated the free limit. Okay. Now, of course, in this use effect, put a dependency array, never leave it empty, right? Otherwise, it's going to render on every single change. Okay. And that's going to be a problem. So in this case, this is going to be associated with file snapshot because we use it here. Has active membership, 100%. That is a dependency. Pro limit and free limit as well. Okay. So anything that is used inside should be included in your dependency array because the use effect is dependent on the variable. So hopefully that snaps something in your mind. It helps out a lot. Okay, quick thought, you could extend this SaaS to include different LLMs and offer a choice via script. 100%. This will give you the base for the app. Feel free to run with it. And then tomorrow I'll show you even how to market it as well. Okay, I'm just gonna have a quick water break. Okay, so we got the we got the users limit. Oh my God, my voice is going. Then we're gonna say console.log, 5 days on live stream, it starts to go. Console.log, checking if the user is over the file limit, files.length, users limit. That's a debugging statement. Honestly, you can go and do this. Can we launch this? Yes, of course you can. Yeah, you can definitely launch this, right? Set is over file limit. Files.length is greater than or equal to users limit. Okay. So now what this will do is it will say you're over. This will set the variable is over file limit to true if, for example, I have 3 files and I'm on the free limit of 2. Okay. Oh no, now I've got hiccups. What is happening? Okay, so in this case, we're going to go to here after the use effect. I'm going to say return, and then I'm going to return. So my custom hook now is going to return a couple of things. I'm really worried about if I start hiccuping it, right? I'm going to say has active membership. I'm also going to return the loading state, the error state, and I'm going to say is over file limit and files loading. So all of these things I can basically tap into at any point when I use this use subscription custom hook. So you guys are learning so much valuable knowledge bombs here, right? This is actually something which is huge. Core is Sunny's code. I'm not sure if I was buying it. No, I'm giving permission that you can use this space to build off of it. It's completely cool. I want you guys to succeed, so use the app. It's all good. Free value. Honestly, that's it. That's all we're doing there. All right, use subscription. You can go ahead and cover this off. And then here, I'm going to pull in the subscription now. Okay, so we just went ahead and set up the use subscription. So pat yourself on the back. That was awesome. Now what we can do is we can simply go ahead and use it like so. So I can literally pull in my use subscription hook. And now you can see I could just say, okay, does the user has an active membership or not? And it will just figure it out essentially, right? So we've done that here. All the logic is basically getting mapped across, and we basically abstracted it away. So now we just go ahead and use this whenever we want to know if they got an active membership. So nice. It's also a real-time listener as well. So yeah, so super clean. Now, with that done, I'm going to go ahead and check on, let's go down to the users button. So when they go ahead and actually upgrade to Pro, and what I want to do is I'm going to start tacking things on now. So upgrade to Pro button here, we're going to go ahead and say it's disabled if it's either loading, so our membership's loading, or is pending. And we haven't actually defined what is pending is. Well, I've been showing you guys this same pattern constantly across the my dev lately. and we're going to use this use transition hook. I will create a video on use transition hook, but essentially when we wrap any asynchronous function inside of the start transition method, is pending is true while the asynchronous function is loading. So it's actually a really nice, it's really nice, right? So I appreciate, Aiden is so cool, man. It's really nice. All right, so this app will make many devs here land a good job. 100% facts, Faizan. Yeah, so in this case now, if I refresh, you should see it's while it's loading, there you go, it's disabled, right? So in that case, good. Next thing we're going to do is I'm going to basically render a different piece of text here based on different values. So rather than this, I'm going to do a nested ternary. Now, I don't recommend you always do nested ternaries. I'm being lazy here, I'm not going to lie. I'm going to say is pending or loading, and then I'm going to say, okay, that will render out loading. Okay, so if that's the case, render out loading, or I'm going to check if the user has an active membership. So if they get past that point, and then they're going to check if they have an active membership. Otherwise, it will say manage my plan or subscription. You can even have, or you can say upgrade to pro. Okay, so this will basically give there'll be 3 outcomes here, right? It will say upgrade to pro, and then if I'm already a member, it will say manage the plan. Otherwise, if it's loading for whatever reason, it will actually go ahead and have, so that in the beginning, I don't know if you can catch it, that it says loading and then it does it. That's really nice, right? Super clean. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and handle the onClick. So here I have an onClick function, and we're going to go ahead and say handle upgrade. Okay, so we need to create this click handler. Obviously, that's why we need to make it a client component. We've got a lot of hooks and stuff like that going on. So now what we're going to say is const handle upgrade equals a function. Now you're wondering, why isn't he not done asynchronous? Because we're going to use start transition internally here. Now a couple of handy things. Firstly, I'm going to check if there's no user, just simply return, simple as. If we've only got 1 line of code, you can do a implicit single line return like so. So we say if no user return. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get the user's details. Okay, so I'm going to say const user details. I'm going to say the email, and I'm going to go ahead and get the user's primary email address, right? And I'm going to convert it to a string because it's not actually always the correct value. I'm going to say to string, and then I'm going to say the name is going to be the user's full name. Okay, now why do I need this? Well, what we're actually going to be doing here, guys, is we're going to create a Stripe checkout session. So when you click on upgrade to pro, what Stripe does, Stripe, the payment processor, will create something called a checkout session. What we're going to do is we're going to give Stripe 2 things. We're going to give it the full name of the user, and we're going to give it the email of the user. What it's then going to do is it's going to create a customer object on Stripe and create a checkout session and associate the user to it. That basically will pre-fill out some of the details, like the customer's email, the customer's name. So when they go to this really nice Stripe checkout page, they don't waste time entering in their email address and name. They just straight away go, here's my card, pay. So that's basically how you can increase your conversions when you're doing this kind of stuff. So the user details here. Now, I do want to actually do one thing. I want to make sure that when I actually create the checkout session, which is going to be a server action, I want to make sure that I have the user details consistent across this and the server action. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop in user details like so. And as you can see now, we've got the user details here. And I want to mention the full name. I'm going to assume that it's here. And as well as the string here, I'm going to assume it's here because we've already got this value. And by default, with our authentication method, we can be sure that those 2 things are there. Or you can just do if statements to protect against it, okay? I love that. Okay, so now we're going to say start transition. So this is basically our wrapper function that will make is pending true while this is going on. And then that way we can reflect the button to say like it loading and so forth. And then we're going to say is const Stripe. Now, basically, before I carry on, we need to set up Stripe. So here I say load Stripe. Now, in order to set up Stripe, we need to go ahead and create our special Stripe helper. And there are 2 Stripe libraries we're going to be using today. We're going to have Stripe, which is actually the Node.js version. And then we have Stripe-JS. Remember, we had Firebase admin. Firebase was running on JavaScript environment. Firebase admin was running on Node.js environment. With Stripe, it's Stripe.js is for our browser client-side environment. Stripe without JS is Node.js server-side environment. Hopefully that helps you out, makes it clear. I'm going to simplify this a hell of a lot once we do this, right? So we go down to our lib, and inside of here, I'm going to say Stripe-JS helper.ts. Okay, so this is basically going to be our Stripe JavaScript helper library. Now, in order to install this, very simply, pull open your terminal, second terminal, npm install @stripe/stripe.js. Okay, don't get them confused because it will throw you off. I promise you, it'll really throw you off, and then you'll make a little mistake and you're going to get annoyed and it's not going to be nice. Okay, now once we've done this, we're going to go ahead and close that down, and then we're going to go ahead and set up our Stripe. So we've got our dependency. We're going to set up our variable, in this case load Stripe and Stripe from Stripe.js. We're going to create our variable Stripe promise. We're making it let because I'm going to assign a value to it. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to create a helper function called get Stripe, and this is going to be a function which returns Stripe. And basically what I'm doing here is I'm actually making sure, like, we're not going to double initialize our Stripe promise, right? So I don't want to keep loading Stripe over and over again. I want to make sure if I've already loaded it once, go ahead and load it. And this is called a singleton pattern encoding. So we're going to go ahead and give it a bit of type safety here by saying it's going to give me back a Stripe or a no value. Okay, so in this case, I'm just checking. What have I done there? All right. Oh yeah, because I haven't returned anything. There you go. So we're going to say if there is no Stripe promise, then we're going to load Stripe. And we obviously haven't figured out that key situation yet. Otherwise, we'll return Stripe promise. Now here, process.environment next Stripe public key. This one, we can basically go ahead and firstly say if there is no Stripe public key, we're going to freak out, right? So we can say if there is, or you can just do it two ways. You can say if there's no defined, we can return an error and basically say Stripe published key is not set. And we haven't set this one yet, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this key right now. Now I've got a nice little trick here. I'm going to go ahead and show you. Yesterday I figured this one out, a little handy little helper for myself. So we've got our environment file, and obviously I'm hiding this stuff here because these are sensitive keys. So what we want to do is I want to go ahead and push in next Stripe publishable key, and I think I can basically just show you enough there. So next Stripe publishable key equals, and now I need that key. So where can I get that key from? Well, head back over to Stripe. And then what I want you to do is go into our Stripe that we just created, in this case, Stripe chat to PDF. And then here you can see publishable key. Right, publishable key should be public. It's okay. It says publishable for a reason. You're allowed to make that key public. Head back over to our code. I'm going to paste that value here. Okay, so that one is okay to show. Stripe, but next public means it will load up on the client side as well. It means if it says next public underneath it, Next.js will allow that to be visible on the client. If we try and use a variable, for example, pinecone key in a client, it's automatically undefined, and Next.js does that because it goes ahead and actually makes it protected by default. Okay, so now we've got that bit down. The next thing that I want to do is have a private key, just so we're set up and we can go ahead and move forward after this. So I want to go ahead and add the next Stripe API key, head back over here, and I want to copy this key. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go ahead and reveal it. So I'm going to click that. And right now, actually, I can show you that because it's not really showing the entire key. So you can click to copy. So click to copy your secret key, okay? And then what I'm going to do is head back over here, and where I have my Stripe API key, I'm going to paste in the value, okay? So in this case now, we have our Stripe API key, and you can't see the entire key, so we're good, right? Now I'm just going to show you as well, we've got two other things that we're going to need. We're going to need the Firebase storage bucket for later on as well. And this one we can set up right now while we're doing this. Head over to Firebase, go over to your storage, and while we're doing this, we might as well get this down. And basically every app will start off with a name. So in this case, let's chat with PDF challenge .appspot.com. So in terms of the actual bucket, I want you to do .appspot.com, and then in the beginning part, this is where your app name is going to go. So I want you to replace this block here with your name of your app. So in this case, my one is going to be chat-with-pdf-challenge. Okay, so my one is going to be chat with PDF-challenge, and make sure you get that right. Okay, so I've literally typed it in, chat with PDF-challenge.appspot.com. So that's done. We will need a Stripe Webhook secret as well, which we can set up afterwards. So I'm going to leave that one blank for now. I'm just going to put ABC here for now, but we will set that one up afterwards. In fact, while we're doing this, we could actually go ahead and do it. No, we'll do that afterwards. We'll make it make sense. Okay, so hit save now on this and close the environment file. And in this case, why is this freaking out? Next. Oh, sorry, don't do this bit. I made a little mistake here. This should be process.environment.next public key. Okay, so there we go. Now what we can do is we can force that by saying, yep, that is available, because it would never have reached that point if it wasn't. Okay, so now that we're good with that, we can go ahead and actually export the get Stripe methods. We can say export default get Stripe, and then we can go ahead and safely use this Stripe.js initializing function. So, and then back over to our app where we load in Stripe. I'm going to go ahead and say const Stripe equals await get Stripe. Okay, and we're going to pull that in from our library. So at the top, you can see we've imported it in like so. We're going to go ahead and get Stripe, and that's going to be connected to our account appropriately. And then we can go and say if has active membership, right? Now here, this is where we would go ahead and do something called create Stripe portal. Now, what is that? Basically, once you've actually already subscribed, we don't need to create something called a checkout session. Instead, what we should do is we should allow the user to customize their membership, cancel the membership if they want to, update their payment records. And you're probably wondering, wow, that's a lot of work. Well, not really, because Stripe gives you something called a portal, which I'm going to show you how to generate. And it's a very, very simple thing to do. So we're going to go ahead and do that one afterwards. So we can, once we finished the first part, we'll do the checkout session. Okay. So if they've got an active membership, it will do that. Otherwise, what we're going to do is we're going to create something, get a session ID back, which is called, we're going to create a checkout session, and then we're going to get a session ID, and then we're going to redirect them to the session. So we're going to say await, create checkout session, and we're going to pass the user details in. Now, this is, of course, a server action, which we're going to need to create. Okay. Once we've done that, this will return a session ID from Stripe, and then we're going to redirect the user by saying await Stripe, redirect to checkout, and then we pass in as an object the session ID. Okay, so we pass in the session ID, and obviously when you got key value the same, you can shorthand like so. Then we pass in the session ID. So let's go ahead and create our checkout session. So we're going to go to our actions, create a new, create checkout session, action function. So server action, action function. Then we say use server at the top to tell the Next.js that this is a server function. And then we're going to build out our thing. So in this case, I can go ahead and just copy the signature. Yes, fine. Right. Create checkout session. So let's go ahead and do this one. So first things first, the signature for the function, export asynchronous function, create checkout session, and then we've got the user details. I'm going to pull these in from our dashboard. Remember, we had them over here. Very, very simple. Now, these are just type definitions, so very, very straightforward. Then we're going to check and get the user's authenticated state by saying const user ID equals await auth, and we're going to pull that in from clerk. Now, of course, you can do an auth protect statement here because we're ensuring that the user's already logged in before they get here, but you can protect it at a lot of different levels. It's completely your call, okay? Now, once we've got the user ID, we need to firstly, I'm going to do a little protective statement here. I'm showing you lots of ways you can do it. You can do auth.protect. You can say if there is no user, throw an error, and so forth. And now the first thing I want to do is I want to basically check. So I'm going to have a Stripe custom ID. Now think of it this way. The first time the user comes to my website and they go ahead and create that upgrade button, they're not going to be a Stripe customer, right? We wouldn't have created a Stripe customer for them. But if they're coming back, then they would already have a Stripe customer ID in our database. So I want to have a check here to basically make sure that we don't mess this up. So first things first, if we go to our Firestore database, for example here, if they already came to the website, they would have a Stripe customer ID. But if they didn't come to the website, I should create them as a customer on Stripe by passing in their username, their email, and then in the metadata of the Stripe account, we should go ahead and pass in the Stripe customer ID, and then I should update the database. So I'll show you how we can do this. First things first, we say const user, and we're going to check the database by saying await admin DB. I'm going to import my admin DB. Remember, now we're on the server. We say collection users document user ID.get, and this will get the user's document. Then we say Stripe customer ID equals user data.stripe customer ID. Now this may be undefined, right? So in this case, imagine this was here, it would be true. So this next bit wouldn't make happen. But otherwise, if it's not, we're gonna say if there's no Stripe customer ID, we're gonna say we need to create a new Stripe customer. Okay. So inside this block here, the way we do it, we say const customer. And actually, before we carry on here, this is where we need to create our Stripe. Remember, we have Stripe JavaScript for the client. This is where we create our server-side Stripe instance. So we need to go ahead and prepare ourselves with that. So heading back over to pause on this side, we're going to head over to our lib. We've got Stripe.js. I'm going to create a Stripe.js TS file. And this is going to be the server-side one. Okay, so this one we need to install very simply by saying npm install Stripe. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and have a little wall break. Okay, now once we've done this, we're going to close that down and we're going to say import Stripe from Stripe, and then we're going to get our Stripe secret key. And we set this one up earlier, Stripe API key. Right, we set that up in our environment file, and I showed you where you can get that on the Stripe dashboard. Remember, it was actually over here, the secret key. Right, so once we've done that, we're going to say if there was no Stripe secret key, throw an error, obviously for good reason. Otherwise, we're going to initialize Stripe by saying the following. We're going to say const Stripe equals new Stripe, pass in our secret key, and export default Stripe. So there we go. That's our Node.js Stripe instance already set up. So once we have that intact, now I can actually create a customer on Stripe. So I want to show you something firstly. Inside of my Stripe customers, I have a customer right now. I'm going to delete that customer to make it completely fresh. Okay, so in this case, you guys are going to see for yourself that this works in all real time. I'm not messing around, not faking this. So in this case, let that do a still deletion. It might take a second, to be honest. So let's go ahead and delete the customer. Deleting your customers. Yeah, so it's an asynchronous operation. So in this case, yeah, let it do its thing. In the background, there you go, it's deleted. Well, one failed. Okay, maybe it's got a subscription active or something. In here, yeah, I think it's because we have a payment attached to it. Either way, I will show you this. Oh, there we go. It's gone. There we go. Yeah, it's a bit of a glitch. Demo gods are against me. There we go. Okay, cool. So now we're going to say const customer. I need to create the customer. So how do we do that? We say await Stripe. I'm going to import it from our Stripe library, not Stripe.js, .customers.create, right? And now when we create a customer, we can pass in some parameters for their creation. The first two that we spoke about is going to be the user details that we passed in. Remember, we passed in an object with the user details inside of it. So we got the email, and this is going to be user details.email. We've got the name, which is going to be the full name, which is user details.name. And then we've got metadata. Now metadata, kind of an interesting point here, because we want to basically pass in the user's ID from our clerk into the metadata of the Stripe object. Because if you think about it, clerk has a unique ID for our users associated, login. We want to connect that to Stripe so we can always do a checkup and see, okay, here's the user's ID. Here is the one from, we've got a connection from our clerk authentication ID to our Stripe data, like Stripe's database. Okay, so this will actually create the customer and it'll give us back a customer object. Now, once we've done that, I'm going to store the customer's ID in my database. And the way I can do that is very, very simple. All I say is await admin.db.collection of users, go to the user's document. So in this case, it will actually be over at this point. We go to the document and we're going to store the Stripe customer ID right into the value here. So Stripe customer ID equals customer.id. So the value that comes back from Stripe after we create it, boom, very simple. And then what we do is, you see this variable that we set up earlier, we simply assign it to the customer's ID. Simple as that. Okay, so at this point, if it already existed at this point, we would have automatically fetched it from the database. Otherwise, if it didn't exist, we're gonna go ahead and create it and it will get assigned to that variable. So either way, once you're past that point, you will have the Stripe customer ID. At this point now, we're gonna create something called a Stripe checkout session. Okay, so we're gonna say const session equals await Stripe.checkout.sessions.create. And then here again, we pass in a bunch of different params. So this is where you can do different payment types and all that kind of stuff. You can really expand on this by going into the Stripe documentation and looking for yourself how this all works. But we're going to go ahead and say payment method type for this one is just going to be the card method, right? And then of course that you've even got all these different ones: Cash App, GiroPay, Klarna, PayPal, PayNow, Swish, all these different WeChat, all these different ones. So feel free to go as far as you want with this, Alipay, all of that. Then we've got something called line items. Now, in the past, you guys have kind of shouted at me saying, Sonny, when you allow the client to basically pass in a value or the ID or whatever, they can basically cheat it and change the price to zero. So the correct way of doing this kind of stuff is firstly handle it on the server, and then basically you see this line items and there's a price ID. Now you can set this as an environment variable, feel free to, but what I'm going to show you now is inside of Stripe, what you do is you go to your Stripe that you've got set up, head over to your product catalog, and you can see here we've got different plans, right? I'm going to click on add a product. And in this case, what we do is we simply say, for example, this is going to be my pro tier. Let's call it pro tier. And let's call this this is the pro plan. I'm going to scream it out because I want you guys to see that bit, right? You can add an image, so that will go ahead and show in the checkout page. And then we've got recurring or one-off. In this case, recurring. You can set your quantity. In this case, we're going to say it was $5.99. Billing period is monthly, right? So you can really customize it as you wish. Click on add product. This will literally go ahead and create a product for us, okay? Pro tier. Click into it. Now, once you've got this, you want to make sure that you use the price ID. Now you can see it says pricing. Click into the price, and that is the one where you want this. See up here where it says price ID. This is the magic. You're going to grab that price ID, and all of the logic is associated to that price ID. So you're going to grab that price ID. We're going to say quantity is 1, and all of this will be passed in to make sure it's all working. We say the mode is subscription. We say the success URL and the cancel URL. Now, because we're on the server, we need to give something called an absolute URL. We can't give like a /home or something like that. It has to be the entire URL. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and firstly, before I do that, I'm going to say the customer who we're associating to the checkout session is going to be the Stripe customer ID. And now you see what's happening. We're creating a checkout session for that customer. Right now, in order to do the success URL and the cancel URL, I'm actually going to create a little helper function called get base URL. Okay, so in order to do that now, it's a very simple little function we're going to go ahead and create. We're going to go here, we're going to say get base URL.ts, and basically this is going to go ahead and be the following. We're going to say const base URL is an inline arrow function. It's, you notice there's not curly brackets because we've got a one-line return, so it's just returning either one of these. We're saying if we're in our development environment, we're going to return our localhost 3000. Otherwise, I'm assuming that you've gone ahead and deployed to Vercel URL, right? So in this case, Vercel URL, when you deploy to Vercel, when you deploy to Vercel, you actually automatically get this environment variable populated. So it's process.env.vercel URL. And notice it's not next public, it's in the server side. So next Vercel URL. So in this case, I can run this and this will give me the starting point of the URL. So now if I go back over to my app and I say success, 1 minute. If I go ahead and say success, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and say the following. Now, you can see here, first off, I've done string interpolation, so the backticks, and then I'm doing /dashboard, and I've done upgrade true. You can do that if you want to, and what you can do is you can check when the page loads, is there an upgrade true, and then render a toast. It's up to you. I've just gone ahead and showed you that. You don't need to, but if you ever do wonder, how do they have it when it loads back and it says, oh, you've upgraded successfully? What they do is they basically check this, they do a user fact, they render out the toast notification, and then they strip it off the URL. So that's a nice little trick you can do. Okay, guys, focus. I can see chat like talking about some other stuff. It's cool, but guys, focus on the build. All right, so in this case, we've got cancel URL. I love it though. Everyone's so engaged with like the dev community. It's cool. All right, then we got the cancel URL. Now, if you want to cancel, it takes you back to the upgrade screen. Okay, so in this case, we've got the upgrade screen right here. I'm going to actually make the music a little bit more chilled out because I want to get a bit more dialed in on this bit now. So we got the cancel URL here. Now, once we've done that, all of this will lead up to giving us back something called the session ID. So I'm simply not going to return a URL. I'm just going to return a straight up ID. Okay, and this ID is of type string. Okay, so simple as that. So now we hit save. This entire server action will create a checkout session for us. Heading back over to our code, let's go over to our upgrade screen. So in this case, upgrade, and Command P is how I just did that. Head over to the upgrade screen, and now down here, create checkout session. We're going to import our action, create checkout session. Now, because this is wrapped inside of a use transition or start transition hook, is pending will be true while it's doing all of this, which means it will actually really nicely go ahead and say, you know, loading and so forth. So who wants to give it a try? Right, let's go back over here, down here, and we're going to click upgrade to pro. Now, when I click this button, it will say loading. And then what's going to happen is it's going to create a customer here. I have no customer here at the moment. It will create a checkout session, attach it to the customer. And then also, while it's doing all of that, it will go ahead and add in the customer's the Stripe ID. So we're going to prove all of this right now by clicking upgrade to pro. Click it, loading. Hopefully no error. We should get redirected to a Stripe checkout. Boom, we do. We automatically also can see, look, I've got Google Pay, pay with link automatically out of the box. This is the pro plan. Remember, I did it in caps to showcase this to you. We have our cards, and you can test this in a second. But what's awesome, prepay worked, right? The pre-filling option. So let's head over to our dashboard. Firstly, user Stripe customer ID is now associated inside of it. That is perfect, works really great. If we head down into our chat to PDF, what's it called, our thing, and we refresh, we should now see a customer here with a checkout session associated to them. So let's go ahead and see this. Wait for it. It'll be loaded in just a second. You can see Sunny Sanga created literally 1 minute ago. You got the customer ID, and it will say, look, post checkout session was created. We click onto this, it will literally show us that the checkout session was created, and it would have had inside of the response body a session ID somewhere in here, and that's the one that we've essentially used to go ahead and redirect. And you guys can see this is the request body that we actually sent up. Remember the price ID, the cancel URL, localhost 3000 upgrade, localhost 3000 dashboard, and so forth, right? So really, really nice. Created us a UI ID, and then we went ahead and redirected the user, which is absolutely awesome. Where the hell did I put the thing? Yeah, here we are. Yeah. So now with that intact, what we want to do is actually pay, so that person can actually be a user now. And I want to highlight to you, this is the moment where if I was to go ahead and carry out this payment, I won't update my database. How will I know in my database that anything happened? You know, not yet. How would you know? Yeah, unless you program it in a certain way, but then it could have an edge case where it breaks. This is where something called webhooks come in. Webhooks are an awesome bit of tech where basically when Stripe has any event that occurs, whether the user pays, starts a subscription, cancels subscription, does anything, they can basically dispatch off events. This is where we can basically create a webhook, so our own endpoint that can basically listen to these events that Stripe is storing off. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into Stripe right now, set up our webhook, which basically allows us to say, all right, I want to listen to this event. So when a user makes a payment, when a user does this and so forth. And then on our Next.js app, I'm going to go ahead and create our own, and I'm going to show you how to do this all locally as well as deployed. We're going to go ahead and create our own webhook API route, and then it's going to go ahead and basically handle all of those events, and that's where the update in the database is going to happen. So we're always in check with what Stripe is doing. Okay, so really, really powerful technique that we're going to go ahead and do. Callback URL, yes, this is where we're going to have all of that stuff happening. So what I want you to do is head over to the home on Chat to PDF or on your Stripe itself, and I want you to click onto the developers section at the top. So click into developers, and over here you can see webhooks. Now, I want you to pay attention here. We're going to go ahead and click on add endpoint, and you can see I've already got a demo one right now. I want you to click on add endpoint. We've even got local listeners, right? Click on add endpoint, and as you can see, we've got an endpoint. Now, endpoint URL we haven't got at the moment. I'm going to click test in a local environment, right? So here's where the cool stuff happens. You want to download the Stripe CLI. So you want to click on this link, and you can basically follow along, download the CLI, and do the following. So basically, you want to either use Homebrew or whatever approach you use. Basically, go ahead and do this. Install it, and then do Stripe login. Log into your accounts, you're all set up. I've already done that. Now, once you've done that, we're going to say Stripe listen /, and then hit localhost 4242 webhook. Now we're not doing 4242. Our app is running on 3000. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this command. And instead of that, what I recommend you do is you just go ahead, paste it in here, change this to 3000, and then copy that. Okay, copy that. So we're going to save. It doesn't have to be called webhook, by the way, the endpoint, right? And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to close that one. And what I want you to do is split this view. And the reason why I split this view is because it's very easy to understand what's going on. On the left-hand side, my Next.js app is running. On the right-hand side, if I do Stripe listen to localhost, and I hit enter now, you see a newer version of Stripe, please update. Okay, so I mean, I can update to that, that's fine. But you can see you are using a Stripe API version. Your webhook signing secret is this. So basically, I want to copy this secret now, and then I want to go ahead and do Command B, and I want to go into my environment variables, okay? So inside of my environment variables.env.local, I want to basically paste in my Stripe webhook secret. So where I have the webhook secret, I'm pasting in that value, and I'm hitting save, and I'm closing my environment file. And basically, we're going to use that for very important reasons afterwards to ensure that when Stripe sends out these events, we need to make sure that actually came from Stripe. Otherwise, someone else could send it and be like, yeah, deactivate this user. You see what I mean? So we have to make sure it's a valid input from Stripe or valid event from Stripe. So once that's done, we can go ahead and actually manually trigger example events, and you can use this to go ahead and code up what you need to do and so forth. Now in this case, you've got Node.js events here as well, examples of this, and you can even go ahead and mess around with a couple of little triggers and so forth. So they give you a very nice starting kit here. I'm going to make it way easier for you, so you guys can literally build this super easily. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to use a Next.js route handler. So heading back over to our code, what I'm going to do is inside of here, I'm going to go ahead and say inside of our app, I'm going to create a new file, a folder called Webhook. Okay, so not inside the dashboard, it's going to be outside the dashboard. It's going to be called Webhook. And then it's going to be inside of it route.ts. And this is how you do something called a route handler inside Next.js. Okay, so what we're doing is we're supporting something called a post request. All right, inside of here, we get the next request, and you can go ahead and check out route handlers on Next.js documentation to make sense of this. Very simple stuff. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to get inside of the inside of the headers. So what I've done here is I've looked at the example of what they do. They take the signature from the requested, and I've rewritten this inside for Next.js. So you guys can follow me along, and this is all the latest and greatest in terms of Next.js. So you guys can basically rebuild their example with me using Next.js. So what we do is we first get access to the headers. The headers will include the signature, okay? So in this case, we can get the body of the text from the request.text, right? So in this case, it must be rec.text, not rec.json. So this is where the body of it, and this will actually include stuff like the event details, what kind of event was dispatched and so forth. Then we need to get the signature, which basically Stripe include in their events to make sense of it and make sure that it's actually from Stripe, okay? Now, what we do is we basically going to have a little bit of defensive programming. First, you're going to say, if there is no signature, return, there is no signature, I'm not accepting this event, right? Next up, we need to say, if there is no Stripe secret, then we're going to go ahead and say, whoa, your Stripe secret was not set, because this is a dev error at this point. Okay, and then we're going to return a next response saying Stripe webhook secret is not set. And you can either do a response, it's up to you. I'm just showing you different ways of doing the same thing. Right, so in this case, you can go ahead and do that. Now, at this point, after we've done that, we can be sure that, okay, we've got everything, we've got our variables set correctly. So we're going to have something called an event, and this is going to be called a Stripe event, right? So stripe.event. And I'm going to import this from our Stripe library. So in this case, actually not from Stripe library. This is actually coming from here. Okay, import Stripe from Stripe. And this is freaking out right now because, did you mean event? I did mean event, yeah, with a capital E. Okay, so once that's done, I'm going to have a try catch block because I'm going to try a bit of code. And if an error occurs, I'm going to basically ping out saying, yeah, there was a webhook error. Something went wrong with that, right? So in this case, this one we can just change to error. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to say event equals, and we're basically rebuilding the event. So when Stripe pings off the webhook, it hits this endpoint. We're basically constructing it together. We're taking the text, we're taking the signature, putting it all together, and we're basically mixing that with our webhook secret. And at that point, Stripe will say, yeah, this is good, this is real, or it's going to say, no, this is fake, and it's going to ping the error into the catch block. in which case it basically will flag it. So we say Stripe.webhooks, and Stripe, remember, is actually coming from our lib. This is actually just the /lib Stripe. We say .webhooks.construct event, right? And inside of here, it takes three things. It takes the payload. This is the body that we passed as text. It takes the signature, which is basically a signature, simple as, and it takes the process.environment Stripe Webhook secret. And that is enough to go ahead and reconstruct our event, okay? Now, once we've done that, we can basically do something called a switch statement. So here we can say switch, and basically we can go ahead and check through the different types of events that come through. So switch statement, very simple concept inside of JavaScript programming. Basically, we can go ahead and say if the event that got dispatched from Stripe is a payment intent succeeded, for example, you should handle it this way and so forth, right? And I've made this really easy for you to handle all the corner cases that we might experience. The first one is if they were to finish a checkout session or a payment was succeeded, then I'm going to go ahead and access the database and update their membership details because they could have basically joined or something like that. If the customer subscription was deleted or they canceled the schedule, right, the subscription schedule, then I'm going to go into the database and toggle it to false, right? And for every other event, I'm just going to say we're not handling this one. It's just unhandled event type and it's going to be logged out to our server, okay? So in order to catch the first two events, what I do is I go ahead and say case checkout session dot completed or payment intent dot succeeded, and I get these values from Stripe. And the way I do this is I go into add an endpoint, and as you can see, if I go to select events, this is where I can actually select all the different events. If I do payment intent, you see that payment intent, amount succeeded, cancelled, created, and so forth. And if I was to toggle this in, you can see they even give you an example of how to go ahead and listen to that event and so forth, okay? So this is how you can go back and forth with the kind of development side of things to make sure it's working. So heading back over here, and you can also simulate the event to make sure it actually hits your switch statement as well. So very nice development experience, okay? Now, once we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to get the invoice from the user. So in this case, we're going to say invoice, event data object, customer ID is from the invoice customer, and we're going to render it as a string. And then we need to get the user's details. Okay, so this is where we need to fetch the user's details from the customer ID that came through on the event. Because the event just has an ID, we need to basically get the actual details of the user, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a helper function above this. So I'm going to create a helper function here called const get user details. And this is going to be used to basically go ahead and get the details for the user, including the Stripe customer ID, from the database. So in this case, I'm going to say asynchronous. This is going to take a customer ID. And what I'm going to do here is I'm basically going to go into our database and I'm going to match. I'm going to do a where query, right? So in this case, I'm doing admin DB collection of users where the Stripe customer ID is equal to the customer ID that I'm passing through. So we're searching through our database and we can go ahead and limit the first response because we only want one. And then we're going to get the user's document. Now, what we do is we simply say, if it's not empty, so we're safely accessing it, return the user's doc. Okay. So as simple as that, we return the user's doc. Now, here, what we can do is we can basically, from the webhooks ID that comes back, I can go ahead and get the user's details. Now, in order to do this, what we do is we say const user's details equals await get user's details, and we're passing the customer ID from the webhook event. Once we have the user details, we can basically go ahead and do a little bit of defensive programming. We can say if there is no user details present, so if the ID is not there, the user was not found. Okay. Otherwise, I'm going to access the user's database record and I'm going to toggle their active membership to true. Okay, so how do we do that? We go ahead and we say await admin DB collection users, go into their document and we just update the has active membership to true. And then what we do is we say break, right? So we break away from this case. Okay, that's perfect. And then what we can say is the next one, we're going to handle the cancellation. So the times where the user's membership might cancel. So for the case where the users might cancel, and as you can see now, this will handle the two events that for the positive outcome. This will handle the two events where they cancel. Okay, and this is how we're going to keep everything synchronized. So what we're going to do is we're going to get the subscription and we're going to get the customer ID itself. We're going to get the user details using our nice little helper function, and we're going to check if there is no user ID. We're going to say the user is not found. So very simple little repeated use case. And then we're going to toggle it again to opposite. We're going to say has active membership false, because at that point their subscription has effectively been, removed. So if we were to actually go into Stripe, delete the user, it would actually go straight into Firebase and toggle it to has active membership false. So it's literally a real-time listener happening, yeah? Now, outside of these case statements, we're going to say the default is unhandled event type. So for anything else that comes in, if it's not this, it's not this, it's not this, it's not this, we're always going to say, yeah, you're not handling that. It's fine. Just console log. Don't freak out. Just console log. Right. Next, after all of that has happened, what we can do is we can say, you can basically return any kind of response here. Next response. I'm just going to say next response equals .json, sorry, because I don't really care too much about this bit. I'm not using this message. But you can just say webhook received. Right. Webhook received. So in case you do want to ping this, whatever, we don't really need to tell it, but it's okay just to give, in this case, webhook was successfully received. And just like that, guys, you guys can see that's a rewritten example of this. Now, how do I test it out? Right. So in this case, to test this all out that it's working, you guys can see right here, I'm listening to forwarded events on localhost 3000 webhook. And what I want to do is I want to make my server tiny over here. And I could even split this terminal. So I'm going to go ahead and show. So the middle right now has my webhooks. I can copy this. Stripe payment intent succeeded. I'm going to copy it. Okay. Now at this point, if I was to run this, what we should see is some actions happening here and here. Okay. So let's go ahead and see for ourselves. So I'm triggering it and you guys can see it's running in a fixture event. Look at this. Look. Oh, this stuff's happening. It's simulating a payment. Payment intent succeeded. It's trying to access a couple of things. Some of them we're not listening to, some of them we are listening to, and it basically handles unhandled event, and then you can see, so some of them we're not listening to, we don't want to do anything, right? But let's go over to our database and have a look what happened. If we go to chat with PDF challenge, guys, you can see if I go ahead and refresh my user, so and go back up to the user, you can actually see right now, am I on the correct user or not? Let's see what we did. I believe we might actually have to do the actual payment for this user. Oh yeah, because of course this is for a dummy user. It doesn't have a customer ID associated with that guy. So in this case, but you can see right now, that's an example of how you can simulate just to see that the events are hitting the right place. So that's the first little debugging thing I want you to do. Once that's done, we can close that up. We can go ahead and simplify this out, make this there. So, okay, testing done. Right now I want to actually test it in prod to make sure it's working, like in our development. So now I've got my Stripe customer ID of me logged in. Let's go ahead and give it a try. So now I'm on that checkout, and if you're wondering how the hell we got here, we can go back over to our app. So let's just go back. This is trying to log me in. Let's go here. So we're back on this page. We're going to go ahead and say upgrade to pro. Click it. Now it will create a checkout session. Boom, here we are. Now in order to pay, you can do any of these payment methods, but I'm going to say 424242. So 4242 is the known Stripe payment card, which will go through. There are also literally card numbers you can put in from the Stripe documents, which will simulate like not enough funds or failed or declined payments. So you can test all of your payment flows. In this case, I'm going to say 0429, for example, or whatever the case. Doesn't matter. 123 ABC. It does not matter. This is a test card, right? And you click subscribe. Now, what I want you to pay attention to is in this moment, a lot of stuff was happening. You see, look, all this is happening. Things are happening here. It's listening. It's hitting our webhooks. This is awesome. And then it's processing, and it will redirect the user after this is all done. So look, it's all good. We've gone through. It's redirected me over here. And now you can see if we go over to our database, hey, look at that. Has active membership true. If I go to chat to PDF, and let's go to our user, Sunny Sanga, and then I've deleted that version of the user, sorry. If I deleted this one, yeah, this is the correct one. You guys can see, look, pro tier, there we go, nice, right? And as you can see, look, literally right now the time is 16:39, 16:38, subscription was created. Amazing stuff, it works, right? And what's awesome about this, guys, is that if I was to cancel it at any point, I can show you right now how this would work. So I'm literally going to go ahead and pop this next to this right now, and you can see here, if I was to go ahead and say, actually messed up. Oh no, don't do that. I don't want to do that. Oh, let's just pull that one out of there. I actually don't know how to do that. Right, let's get rid of it. Who cares? Right. In this case, boom. So I'm on my Stripe dashboard. I've got my Next.js here, as has active membership is true. If I was to cancel this user's membership now, let's go to, for example, the user's subscription here, and let's just do cancel. And I'll say immediately, right? So I'm gonna cancel it, no refund, or whatever you want to do. You can refund them, whatever. Yeah, click cancel subscription. And now I want you to pay attention here. Look over here. Look, folks. That is sick. That is nice. Look, real-time connection works. Webhooks are firing off. Everything is working the way we wanted it. Lovely. That's exactly what we wanted. It works perfectly the way that it should be. Okay. Now we can, that basically proves that it's all working. Okay. So on the front end now, we need to basically reflect all this stuff so we can actually use it. And of course, done it really nicely, because now, of course, we've got that super slick handler that will just real-time listen. So we don't need to do anything complicated. All we need to go ahead and do is just tap into our use subscription hook, and we can start limiting, doing all of our stuff. You see how slick that is, right? And I think that deserves a water break. All right, we're doing really, really awesome on the timings. And honestly, oh my God, like literally, I just realized, we've got over 2,500 people still watching right now. Sick. Absolutely sick. Make sure you hit that like button if you're watching on YouTube. A lot of you are in the viewing room, but if you're watching over on YouTube, make sure you go ahead and do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. Now we've got the Stripe session. So what we've redirected, we send them back here. But what if I already had a subscription? So I'm going to go ahead and go to my pricing page right now. I'm going to upgrade to Pro. I'm going to do this again. So we actually enable it. So 42, 40, 40, 42. Let's do that right now. 29, 1, 2, 3, ABC. And we're going to subscribe. Okay. So look at this. What does North code these days? There's more than yesterday. Yeah, it's really cool. There's a lot of stuff happening. Aiden goes, dang, he's cooking. Jordan Sinclair, what's up? So let this happen. Then we will be toggled as true inside of our dashboard. So let's go here and you guys can see this will be true. Nice. Back over here now, and if we go to the pricing page, look at this, we see upgrade to Pro still. So I need to check why this is happening. So in this case, we've got our pricing page, we've got the as user has active membership. So firstly, I want to do this. I want to say console log has active membership, and I need to debug this. So I'm going to open up my inspector, and as you can see, undefined. So that's not good, right? Undefined. At this point, I want you to test that your hook is working. At this point, we've got a little issue with ours, probably a very simple issue. So in this case, let's go over to use subscription. And now what I would do here is basically, firstly, I'm going to get rid of that one so we can actually start logging out what's going on. Has active membership. Let's just follow this out where it happens. So here, right? So this is where essentially it's going on, as everything's happening. So what I want you to do now is essentially go ahead and here, where we log out the data, I'm going to say console log debug one. I'm just going to pop in data, right? Now here, what we can do is we can go ahead and do the same thing, refresh it, refresh the screen, and let's see what goes on. So you can see that debug one has active membership is actually true. Okay, so it is actually finding the data. And at this point, we can go back over to our code. So a bit of live debugging right now. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pop this underneath so we can get a nicer view while I'm live. In this case, boom, that's better. I think it helps you guys out a bit more. I'm actually going to close. Sometimes there's so much clutter here. It's so annoying. Yeah, close that. There you go. Okay, there we go. That's nice. Right. So now here we've got the debug. If no data returned, right? So in this case, data was there. So what we can do is we can do a console log debug2 is what I would do. Debug2 data.active membership. Okay. So what I would say there is then you refresh and I can see, all right, I cleared debug 1, but debug 2 is undefined. That's the difference. And the reason being, I made a stupid mistake here. Data.active membership is actually has active membership, right? So in this case, this is a mistake from autopilot that I was messing around with. So it has active membership. Now, if I do this, guys, and I go ahead and refresh, what you should see is manage plan. Hey, look at that. Debug 1 passed, debug 2 went to true. So you see live debugging literally there. Do not freak out. Just take it step by step and debug the issue out. And this is how I basically will go ahead and debug. It's better than any tool. Honestly, you just go ahead and you can just check where the code is getting to. All coding is problem solving and logical reasoning. Like you just making sure that, okay, did I hit this point? Why did I not hit this point? Did I hit that point? Why did I not hit that point? And basically you figure out the problems. It happens every time and you'll get past everything. I promise you. Okay, cool. So now we've got that down. So as you can see, manage plan, right? So if I click it now, you see it actually goes ahead and it loads the actual plan. And the reason being is, firstly, we need to actually make sure if I go back to my upgrade screen, right now we're not actually doing anything. So it has active membership. It just flies through it, right? It doesn't stop the execution. Here, what we now need to do is actually create a Stripe portal to make sure that the user goes to the correct manage page instead of upgrading page, right? Because we've already done that. I have some lifestyle videos. Yeah, 100%, man. Honestly, definitely. I feel like I'm watching entertainment as well as coding. I really do try and pop out that kind of content as well. So enjoy the vlogs and stuff like that as well. Literally watching one with my mom earlier on. It was really sweet. So in this case, we're going to go ahead and say if has active membership, I'm going to say const Stripe portal URL equals await. And this is where we say create Stripe portal, right? So it's going to be a server action. Very simple actually here. And what we're going to do here is we're going to take this and we're going to create our own Stripe server. And as you can see, server actions incredibly powerful when you use them correctly, right? So here we've got a simple function. Of course, it's a server action, so we need to say use server at the top of the file, and really do use them as much as you can. Honestly, they're really awesome. We're going to auto protect at this point. So again, I've been showing you a bunch of different ways. I'm mixing and matching to give you a demonstration, but what I would definitely recommend with is that you guys definitely do stick consistently to one approach with protecting your site. Okay, now once we've done that, obviously it wouldn't reach this point again. So you could do one or the other, but at this point we can ensure the user ID is there. But you can really go like to the most extent to make sure that you're protected. Then what we're going to do is we're going to get the customer's ID, the Stripe ID from the database. How do we do that? We say admin db.collection.userid.get. Okay, so this in conjunction with Clerk, you can see this lovely little relationship that we got going on. Then we got the Stripe customer ID, which is stored in the customer's document. So right here, if we do not have a customer ID at this point, that shouldn't happen because we will only reach this screen if you're a customer, which means the database would be prepared. But otherwise, we should throw an error because there's something wrong there. Otherwise, we're going to create a billing portal session. So here, Stripe, we're going to pull it in from our Stripe library. We say await Stripe billing portal sessions create. We're going to get our base URL, which is our nice little helper. The return URL to go back to is the dashboard. Then we're going to say customer. You can make it go back to the upgrade screen. I think the dashboard is a bit of a nicer experience. Here we just say customer. We pass in the Stripe customer ID, and then all we do is we return the sessions URL. And this is how we create a Stripe portal for the user to manage their account. Once we've done that, we basically go ahead and import it like so. Again, as this is all in the start transition, it's really clean. It means that basically the button is going to be disabled while this is loading and so forth. And of course, we want to end execution there by redirecting them to that new screen. So what we do is we say router.push and we return it. So we say return router.push Stripe portal URL. So let's give it a try. I think we've done it. That's super smooth. Look at this. Look, manage plan, click it, boom, loading. Now I should go to our manage Stripe page. And look at this. Chat to PDF partners with Stripe for simplified billing. And I guarantee you have seen this in other apps, right? Now I can cancel my plan. I can go ahead and do this. And if I cancel it, I do whatever I want to do. Let's say I canceled this plan, right? What's cool is that your plan will be canceled, but was still available until the end of your billing period. So now what's cool is it will literally, at the end of the billing period is when that webhook from Stripe will kick off. And then you don't have to worry. The webhook kicks off at the end of the user's billing period. It goes ahead and updates the database. It kicks them out for the pro tier. You see how nice that is, right? Like you get the exact user experience that you expect. And then once they go ahead and do this, and obviously you can add logos and stuff in Stripe. I'm going to let you guys customize it. And then you can click return to chat to PDF. So full user experience. I'm not joking when I said it was a full SaaS app, right? So at this point, sick, right? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and update our app to make sure that we limit the user's ability and update the UI if they're free or pro. So hopefully you're enjoying this stream right now. I think it's been an awesome stream so far. Let's go ahead and carry on, right? And then we've basically got a couple of things to do. We've done the pricing page. We've already implemented Stripe checkout. We built a custom hook and integrated it with Stripe Webhooks. We are limiting, and by the way, when we deploy, we are also going to have a separate webhook secret, and I'll show you how we're going to do that one as well. So we actually need to create that. In fact, what we'll do now is I'm actually going to show you that one in action. So I want to show you that one in action. How do I minus? There you go. I'm going to show you as well. So if we go to home, go to developers, go to webhooks, we actually need to create the correct webhook endpoint. So in this case, you see I created one here, but I'm going to go ahead and click on add endpoint, and I'm going to click on, in this case, this would be the deployed URL. So once we go ahead and deploy to Vercel, remind me to come back here, and it will be like HTTPS, for example. Let's just say my app was PDF chat .vercel.com or something like that. It'll be / webhook. That's how we would do it. And then the events that we listen to are all of the ones that we put in the case, right? So everything that I cased in the switch statement will be the ones that are here. You can also do all of them. I don't recommend you do that because we only want to listen to the ones that will get sent our way. And then you click add endpoint, and that will give us a webhook secret. That is the webhook secret that we go ahead and put in our Vercel production environment variables. I will show you all of this, but I just wanted to explain it one time. Cool. So now we're back. Let's go ahead and limit the user's experience based on those things. So first things first, I am going to need some toast notifications later on. I do like them. It means that the user can basically get notified if they've, exceeded limits and stuff like that. So how do we go ahead and add in our toaster notifications? Well, we're going to go over to Shadcn, and we're going to use, Shadcn. Head over to Shadcn / UI, and we're going to go ahead and do the following. So Jamal goes, it's so cool. I love that. Appreciate you. So look at this. Boom. We're going to go ahead and do this. And Aiden is 100% right. Like the stream right now. It helps YouTube push this out as far as possible. Right at this point, what we do is we go down to toast notifications. Where is it? We go down to toast notification, and you've got a couple. You've got Sunner notification. We're going to use the toast notification component. Go ahead and copy this command npm and go back over to our code, command J, pull this open, and we're going to create a new terminal, so a clean terminal instance, and we're going to install it into our app. Okay, so once this is done, now we need to import it into our layout file. So in this case, let that do its thing. Head over to our layout, and this is the top level layout over at this point. Import it like so. And then at the top of our children, we're going to go ahead and pop in the toaster. And basically this will render it in whenever we use it now. So now I can actually go ahead and do it. So heading back over to our, so inside of our app now, if I ever need to, pull out a toaster, like a notification that you see, for example, here, right, like these ones, I can now do that very simply. Okay, and you can have destructive ones. You can go ahead and say that boom, or something went wrong on the bottom of the page and so forth. Okay, so very, very nice little UI trick. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do the following. So now I want to start limiting the user's stuff. So at this point, the header, let's start with the header, right? So first thing on the header, I want to go ahead and update the UI. So let's go over to header components. And I'm going to do the following. I want to actually have an upgrade button. Remember, we had the user button. The upgrade button is the next thing we're going to do. So I'm going to have an upgrade button, and we're going to close it like so. So this upgrade button right here is going to be a bit easier. We're going to grab this. We're going to create our own custom component called upgrade button.tsx, and do RFCE to create our upgrade button. And then I'm going to import it like so. So pull it in like this, right? So once we've done that, now we should have upgrade button in the corner. So the upgrade button, relatively simple. It's going to be a client component. We're going to say use client. And then we're going to go ahead and import a bunch of different things. So in this case, I'm going to need a few different things here. Let's go ahead and import them like so. Use subscription, button, link, loaders, Stripe portal, action, use router, and use transition. And then here, I'm going to basically say, if the user does not have an active membership and it's not loading, then I'm going to return a button saying upgrade. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is if the user has no active membership or is not loading, then we're going to return this. But obviously I need to get these values. So in order to get these values, I'm going to pull in the helper functions. So we got our has active membership equals use subscription. So this right here, we'll go ahead and basically use our new custom hook to go ahead and do this. Look at this. So in this case, we've got the use subscription, has active membership, loading. I don't know what you're talking about. I wanted to show you. Sesame Tree. Nice. All right. In this case, the use subscription, and then we've got the is pending and start transition. And then underneath that, we've got loading. So if it's loading at any point, I want to have a little animation. So underneath that, if it's loading at any point, and as you can see now, when we refresh the page, little loader popped in, right? Really, really clean. right? Now, underneath that, we've got upgrade button. So here, I don't want to do that. I want to return a nice button. I'm actually going to show you what we do here, and then I'll explain it all. So at this point, I'm going to pop in a button. It's got a handle account, which we're going to create. It's disabled if we've got our use transition is pending. Then we've got the default variant, a little bit of styling. If it's pending, it's going to show a little spinner. Otherwise, it'll say pro account. Okay, so here we've got our handle account function. Let's go ahead and create this. We'll say const handle account equals async, or we don't even need it to be async. We just need it to be a function. And inside of here, we're going to have a start transition. And it's basically the same thing that we did previously. We're going to create our Stripe portal if the user is basically already a member, and we're going to render it out accordingly. Now, the only thing I need to do is pull in my router, and then we're good to go. So at this point now, you can see if I am a pro member, it will come up with the pro account. So it loads, while it's loading the user's information, it's spinning and it's disabled. And then if I click it now, look, if I click it, it creates a Stripe portal, sends me over to the Stripe portal. Amazing stuff, right? And what's really cool about this is you can go ahead and test this out like right now in real time by basically pulling open another tab, going ahead and, for example, pulling open Firebase. So in this case, I could go ahead and say like, if I go to my Firestore, let's do that again. Actually, let's go here. And for example, if I was to pull open this and say Firebase, chat to AnyDoc, let's go here. So now I've got my AnyDoc, and if I was to go ahead, and this is not the right one, it's actually chat to PDF challenge. And what I want to do is I want to show you in Firestore, if I was to toggle the member to false. So this is obviously for testing. You shouldn't manipulate this manually. But if I toggled it to false and click update, look at this. In real time, it will go ahead and say upgrade. And now if I click that button, it takes me to the pricing page. See how cool that is, guys? And even here, if I go ahead and toggle this back to true, it will go ahead and it literally switches it in real time to manage plan. So it's real time connected to your authentication statement status, which is so clean. It's just awesome, right? Now, obviously you do that to test, but don't do that like to your users, right? That should only be toggled afterwards through your webhooks and correctly toggled and so forth, right? So with that done now, I'm going to go ahead and cancel out my logos 3000. Let's go back here. Cool. And then we're going to go ahead and implement a few other things. So a few more things that we're talking about. Let's go ahead and limit the user's interaction here. So that way they can't send a message if they hit, more than 3 and so forth. So we're going to do that right now by hitting up the following. Let's go to the chat screen over here. Where is it? Where's my code? Yeah, here we are. Let's pop it over there. So right now we've got our code over here. So I want to limit it. So when the user's chatting, we're going to basically go ahead and say, yeah, you're basically, you've exceeded the number of messages that you're allowed to use, right? So in this case, the way we can do this now is I need to go into where I basically will ask the question. So where is my chat input? So chat input is here. Let's go ahead and just do this right now. We've got chat messages, we've got the input. So when we handle submit, this is where the magic is essentially going to happen. Well, inside of here, what I want to do is, well, it's actually going to go down, I believe, in ask question. So ask question is really where I want this restriction to happen. So here, I'm actually going to do the restriction. So we already have free limit and pro limit. And these we can actually go ahead and remove from here because I actually want to make sure I'm pulling them in from the subscription store that we actually used earlier. So that one we can actually do, it was use subscription. We're going to export these values. So export these values, pro limit and free limit as well. Now here inside of ask question, here tomorrow limit the users pro and free. Now all we have to do is when the user, basically all of this stuff happens when the user sends a message. We already built this yesterday, it already works. Now at this point I want to go ahead and say if there is no user messages. So in this case, remember, we already done this here. So user reference data, where's my user reference? I did not get the user reference yet. Okay, so basically, firstly, we've already got the user's messages here. We're not using them just yet. We're going to check against that in a second. But I want to firstly get the user's document. So let's go ahead and get the user's document by saying user ref, admin collection, users document, user ID. So now we've got the user here. What we can do is we can basically go ahead and say if the user has an active membership, then we can basically go ahead and say, yeah, you're good, right? If they don't have an active membership, then we can go ahead and say you need to upgrade to Pro. Okay, so first things first, we're going to go ahead and check if the user is on a free plan and has asked more than 5 questions, or in this case, not actually 5 questions. I think I'm doing 3 questions, right? So in this case, the free limit, we're going to pull in from here. And this right now is 2, right? So it has asked more than 2, I believe, but I'm saying if it's greater than or equal to, so more than the free number of questions, then basically we're saying the user's message length is exceeded the free limit, right? And again, we're filtering for only the user's messages. Once that's done, we basically say, okay, we're going to return back a success false, and the message will say you'll need to upgrade to Pro to ask more than the free limit questions. Okay. Then after that, we're going to check if the user is on a Pro plan and has asked more than 100 questions, because even on the Pro plan, we're limiting them to 100 questions. Okay, so at this point, we can import our free and Pro limits accordingly. And then we say you've reached the Pro limit of, 100 questions per limit. Okay, done. And just like that, now we're done. So we go back to ask question. And remember here, if it wasn't a success in the response that came back, what we can do is we can render out a toast notification, right? And we can actually go ahead and say, whoops, something went wrong. And we can basically render out the toast. Now, in order to render out a toast, all we need to do is we need to pull in a little, use the use toast function. So in this case, at the top, we can say const toaster equals use toast, pull that in from our UI from Shadsian, head back down over here where we have our success, not true. And then if anything went wrong for whatever reason, in which case it would have here, we can go ahead and simply throw in a toast notification with the variant destructive, title being error, and the description being the message that came back from ask questions. So let's give this a try, guys. What we want to do is, let's just say I'm going to manually toggle my user here to be in Firestore. So let's say Firebase chat to any doc. So in this case, I'm going to do, I need to keep this open for some, so chat with PDF challenge is the one that we have. And I'm going to toggle my user now to be a membership false, right? So in this case, I'm just testing it out. I'm saying, okay, they're false. They are on a free plan right now. So I'm going to say, what is this about, right? So at this point, I'm basically exhausting through a couple of my free questions. So I've answered the first question right now, and hopefully it goes through. The second one I'll say is how many lines of code has Alex written by the age of 15 and so forth. So in this case, there you go. Tell me more. Let's say, tell me more. And at this point, again, you see the users in the free tier, they're going ahead and going after surviving yesterday. I need a t-shirt. I survived LangChain. Literally that, right? But I promise you, it's so fun once you've done it. Yeah. So in this case, you see how it's working nicely there, and that we've done this. So at this point, the user's like, oh, the app's working. Like the app is really nice. It's super slick. I can go ahead and chat to the document accordingly and do everything I need. And then it's not an intrusive. It's not like screaming in your face like, oh, you're on a free tier. You only get this much. But when you just naturally try and use the app, and at this point, I can go ahead and say, for example, how many lines of code had Alex written? And check this out. Pay close attention to now, guys. If I do this ask, you see, it's going to fetch in the database. It would realize that, okay, you've already asked 2 questions. I think at this point, it would have allowed me the third. And if I do it again, so it tell me more. Now we've exceeded, I believe, unless I haven't done this right. Yeah, so we need to modify our backend, I think, because right now it's passing through. Because at this point, we should have flagged. So we need to debug, basically. Okay. So let's go ahead. Yep. So it's still working. So at this point, remember, I've manually toggled that to false at the moment, so we have to be careful of that. But actually, what I think I need to do is, okay, that's fine. All right. So I manually toggled that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to debug. So right now, again, another opportunity for live debugging. Awesome. We always love that, don't we? So in this case, we've got this. I'm on the free tier, so it shouldn't have gone through. Right, the ask question shouldn't have gone through. So first thing I want to check is, what is the success message coming back from? So in this case, well, firstly, if we're going to ask question, down here, I go ahead and I check here for the limiting and all that kind of stuff. We return a message and so forth. So here, it should actually be the case of, everything is working the way we expect it. I would say the first thing to nail out is just console log here. We can say debug, and I would say success and a message, right? So when we get this back, so what I would do is make this full screen, do the console, and here, let's just clear this out and say test, right? I'm just doing a little test here, and I want to see when I send it, I get an updated snapshot back from chat 49, and you can obviously comment that one out. But really, we should see once this comes back, a debug with the status and everything. So debug is true and no. So success was actually true. So in that case, that's where our error seems to be. So success should not have been true. So at this point, there's a problem with this here. So we've got the users, and then in this case, we've got the user reference. So right now, this is not basically ever being hit. So we need to see why this is the case. Right, so firstly, we've got this. So what I would do here now is I would say console log, and this is where we have to debug on the server. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to go over here, and then we can go to this. And here I want to say debug to, I'm going to say, what am I checking against? I'm saying user ref data. So let's just look inside the user ref. So user ref data. So what I want to do now is I'm going to say test again. Okay, so test. Now, at this point, debug to Stripe customer ID. See that it was there. So obviously it's, this is my LangChain stuff happening. Debug to Stripe customer ID has active membership false. Okay. So in this case, it should have hit this, right? So in this point here, what I can do is I can debug into these steps, right? So what I would do here is I'll say console log debug 3, and then I would do the following. So so now what I would do here is I'll say this one is debug 4, this one is debug 3. Right, so I can see exactly where I'm hitting in my code flow. Okay, messages.length, and I want to see the free limit. And now you can see I can start to see what's going on, right? And I also want to do here pro limit. Okay, so we do it again. I look down here. I basically will console this out, and I'll say test. And now let's see what's going on. If I do test, we should see debug 2, debug 3, right? So I hit debug 3 here, and as you can see, 6. But the free limit was the one. Aha. So my free limit was never being imported in. So what was, oh no, sorry, debug 3, 6. So debug 3, yeah, 6. So basically what's happening here is that my free limit and pro limit is being pulled in from a client side bit of code, and it's not actually pulling it in the way that we expected it. And that's probably because of, yeah, so this is because we're on the server side. It might not be working the way that we wanted to. So what we can do here is basically we can either export this into separate files, or to keep it really simple, to be honest, we can just go ahead and obviously just for this demo, I can just basically put the values here as well and make sure they're consistent across. Or you can store these values in databases, which is what I would probably do, the main thing. And then all your values are pulling from that database value, okay? So that's really what I would be doing most of the time, to be honest. Now, if I was to go ahead and check it again, let's do this again. We can say test. And now we should be able to see debug 3, 7, and 2. And look at that. Whoops, you'll need to upgrade to Pro to ask more than 2 questions. So look at that, guys. Now we can go ahead and do this again, refresh. And let's go and say, tell me more. And as you can see now, boom, you need to upgrade to Pro to ask more than 2 questions. Amazing stuff. That's exactly what we wanted. And if the user keeps on trying to say hello, you see it's going to keep on basically flagging now, saying, whoops, doesn't work. And you see that right there was a true, not scripted example of debugging and how you would break it down. You see how you just stay calm and you go ahead and break down the entire flow. And then what I would do is I would open this up. I would go ahead and split my pane. In this case, I would say chat to any doc. Let's pull this one open. And I'm going to go to, again, chat with PDF challenge. I'm going to toggle this to Pro now and show you that it should go through. So now we're testing both flows. Okay, so has active membership now. Let's go ahead and change this to true, update. And firstly, we should see I'm on a Pro account now. And I say test. Do this again. And now what we can see, guys, is that should go through. So you can see this is absolutely perfectly working the way we expect it in a real-time fashion as well, which is so impressive. And obviously the webhook is going to decide on what this state is, right, in the database. So that is honestly just so clean, if you ask me, right? That's such a nice version of implementing this. I'm going to go ahead and close that one out as well. And as you can see, boom, Works really, really awesome, right? So pro accounts, now obviously the pro account will fail once you hit the pro limit, which will be 100 messages. And obviously you can do this for a lot of reasons. You can make sure that, someone's not exhausting it out, or you can change your pricing model. That can go to the nth extent as to getting it optimized or whatnot, yeah? So now you can see I'm not screaming at them, but if they are on a free account, I basically will limit the user's ability to do things. So now what I want to do is I'll go back. I don't know why I keep doing this. God, I need to keep that open. Let me keep that open because I basically want to keep on testing stuff like this now. So we've done the limitation for the here, right? And you can even have in your toast notification a little action, and you guys can do that as part of your homework and to get extra bonus points. Basically have an action inside your toaster saying upgrade, and you click the button, it takes you to the pricing page, right? So that's that right now. We can manage our plan. We want to go ahead and allow them to also delete files. And we're also going to basically ensure that if you're on a free tier, this will have a sad face saying you can't actually add any more, right? So in this case, what I'm going to do is firstly, let's implement the delete functionality. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, let's go and do this. So right now inside of the documents over here, we're going to implement delete functionality. This stuff isn't actually that hard. It's taking time. That's all it is, right? So really, this isn't that bad. If you're following along, you can literally enjoy this at a brisk pace, and it's not too bad. So I'm going to go to my document right now. So the actual document here, and document.tsx, and this is where we're going to go ahead and actually pull in the has active membership. So has active membership. Pull in our subscription, and you guys can see, look how easy this is. Once you've got a good program and practice in play, we've got a use transition, we've got is deleting a start transaction, has active membership. We can literally just go in and start doing it. That's it. It's so simple, straight to the point. For the delete button, I'm going to have on the firstly, I'm going to import a couple of icons. I'm going to have a cloud icon, and I'm going to have a trash icon, and inside of my div, outside the div, sorry, I'm going to have all the actions. This is essentially going to be where, and because the top div is flex one, it'll push these to the bottom. We're going to have a div. These div is going to be flex. It's going to be space x of 2, and it's going to have a justify end. And inside of here, I'm going to have 2 buttons. The second button is very easy. I'm going to do that one first. So we're actually going to implement the download easy straight off the bat. Download, everyone can download it, right? When you upload your document, you can go ahead and download it. Now, at that point, what we should see in our app is that, there you go, download. As soon as I click on that, it will take me to the actual document itself, and it will load up in your native PDF renderer. I use Adobe, so in that case, it loads it up. So the download, already done. Literally took 1 second. Okay, so in that case, it's just a tag with the download URL, and you can go ahead and refactor that to make it a link tag and so forth. I'm loving that, but it goes in. It's not that long left, honestly, guys. And you guys can remember, watch the replay afterwards, follow along, and all that stuff as well. So we've got the button next for the deletion. Now the button for deletion is actually fairly straightforward as well. I'm going to pop it in like so, and you guys can feel free. This is what I've just popped in. Firstly, it's an outline. Disabled if it's deleting or if the user does not have an active membership. So what we're doing here is we're not, basically, if you're on a free trial and you upload a document, we're not letting you delete that document, because basically we want to push you slowly by accident to the, not by accident, but to the pro limit. I'm just setting up an example of a strategy here. So imagine otherwise people would be like, oh, hang on a minute, I can go ahead and upload it, ask 2 questions, delete it, upload it, ask 2 questions, upload it, delete it. And you basically get around your app, right? So in this case, we're not letting them delete unless they're pro. So every free member can upload 2 documents and ask 3 questions to each one, right? And then that's it. So basically they can ask 6 questions and then they're maxed out on their free trial. So basically we're implementing a trial process like that. Now on click, I've just got a very simple prompt here saying, are you sure you want to delete this document? I've not done any fancy shadsy, and you can go ahead and upgrade that to yourself to get bonus points as well. Here we're going to say, if you clicked yes, you want to delete, we're going to start transaction and we're going to do delete the document. Okay. So very simple here. And then here we're just going to say trash icon. If you're not a pro member, we're going to say it's a pro feature, right? Now we need to create a delete document server action. So we're going to go ahead and go into our actions, do a delete document.ts, And inside of here, we're going to go ahead and do our delete document. Now, this one is fairly straightforward. It takes a delete document ID. It is a server action. So we're going to go ahead and say use server. I'm going to import a bunch of things that I'm going to need at the top of the file. So in this case, boom. And then we're going to go ahead and do the following. So dependencies, because mutant doesn't re-render the component. Yes, that actually could be has unnecessary dependencies, free document. Oh, so you don't actually need to put the, yeah, okay. Good spot actually, Steve. That was actually pretty sick. You don't need to put the free doc and the pro doc inside of the dependency array because they actually const outside as well. So just a nice little touch there, right? So I want to go ahead and extend on our app. So inside of Firebase admin, where we initialize things to begin with, we actually want to get the storage because we want to manipulate the storage as an admin. So all we got to do is very simple. Where we had admin DB, we're going to also pull admin storage, and then we're going to also export that so we can use that as well. So I want you to go ahead and cut that one off. Delete document. There you go, admin storage. Next up, we have the index name. So ours is slightly different. It's just going to be inside of here. Then we have the Pinecone as well. Pinecone client, I can import that as well because I think my one's slightly differently named. I believe I just had it inside of the lib folder. Pinecone, there you are. Yeah, so there you go. We've imported everything that we need, and in order to get this working, we're going to protect against, make sure you're authenticated as user. We're going to get your user ID, and then firstly, we've got to delete from 3 places, right? So 3 things that we got to do is we've got to delete it from Firebase, right? The Firestore database. So when we delete your document, it deletes from Firestore, the record. We're going to go ahead and delete the Pinecone embeddings, so the namespace. Remember in Pinecone, when we stored the embeddings that resembled the PDF document, we need to delete that namespace to free up the namespace. Because remember, on the free tier, you're actually limited to 100. So that's a big point. And then we're going to delete it from Firebase storage. You can do it in any order, and you can even make this a try catch to make sure they all go through. But in this case, I'm just very simply going to put it like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and say, firstly, I'm going to delete the document from the database. So here, admin DB collection users, go into user ID, find the document and delete it. Okay. Then we're going to delete it from Firebase storage. Right. So in this case, we've deleted it from the Firestore database. We're going to also delete it from Firebase storage. So in this case, boom, we're going to delete admin storage bucket. Process.env.firebase storage bucket. Now, if you remember correctly, inside of our .env file, we had the Firebase storage bucket, and this was basically this one. I can show you. So this one's actually going to be like so. It's going to be the actual app name. So app name .appspot, and we're just going to pop that next time. .appspot.com. Right. So that's all on a single line, and basically that's going to be your Firebase storage bucket name. Okay. So once you've got that down, oh. Sorry, it's fine. Oh my God, that's crazy. All right, delete the one time. It's fine. Anyway, Jay, remind me, I need to invalidate keys after this. It's fine, whatever. Cool. Delete from Firebase storage. So then revalidate the dashboard page to ensure the documents are up to page. So after this is done, we're going to go ahead and nobody do anything. I appreciate you all. Right, revalidate the dashboard page to ensure the documents are up to date. So we've got here, once we've done all of this, because we server-side render the page on the dashboard, we just need to revalidate the cache on that. But we're not done yet. We need to actually delete the embeddings associated with the document in Pinecone. So how do we do that? We basically go ahead and get the Pinecone client, the index name, we imported it. This is from the PuppetFam. So the PuppetFam index name from our LangChain file. So we're back in the LangChain file. Woo, everyone's getting freaked out by that. So in this case, we've got the index, and then we say index.namespace. Remember, we had namespaces for all of the different documents that were inside. We just say delete all the embeddings inside of that namespace. And by doing that, you remove the namespace. Remember, each document was resembled as a namespace inside of Pinecone, and then all the embeddings were stored inside that namespace. That's how it basically is organized. And then we revalidate. So deleting from all 3 places, and then we revalidate. Okay, so that's all good. Now we go over to our document. Once again, we go ahead and we say, we pass in the ID. That's all good. And then we basically import it from there. And just like that, guys, we can go ahead and we should be able to delete our documents. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this down to the free amount of tiers, and it will revalidate and do everything we need. So now if I give it a second, it will actually go ahead and remove those things. This one actually is freaking out because, yes, the reason why this is happening is because some of these were developed out of basically these were developed out of we were doing it in the wrong order. So I was creating some of these, and then before Pinecone was creating instances of them. So this is like edge cases that you will run into. But for now, I'm just going to force delete these. I'm going to delete. This will error out. You can do a try catch block. This is because we were creating these before I had Pinecone set up. So we basically had that issue. Now, as you can see there you go, boom. All right, so if I was to go ahead and add a document, we can do that and so forth. And as you can see here, if I was to delete the final one, like so, boom. So now what I want to do, guys, is I actually want to go ahead. I prefer Firebase over the two, to be honest with you. But in this case now, I want to have it. So I'm going to upload 2 documents, and then I'm also going to go ahead and have a little sad face, which means you can't do it. So first things first, I'm going to do a little test here. I'm going to upload a PDF to make sure it's all there. Once that's done, let it do its embedding stuff. Then we're going to go ahead and head back over here to my documents. And as you can see here, right now, I want to firstly test it. I want to make sure that here, I just want to keep that tab open. It's kind of annoying. Chat turning doc here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to say, that's fine for now. All right, I'm just being lazy. So in this point, boom, and you know what, I'm the type that gets very OCD about this. There you go, bam. That will help me out. All right, so now this one, if I go ahead and toggle the active membership to false, I should be able to see pro feature. So you see, I can't delete a document now. I can't click on that and delete it. Yeah, so if I was on a free tier now, let's say I updated a second one. Let's go ahead and do like another code whisperer, and then check this out. Let that do its thing. And now, boom, go to my documents, and now you see pro feature. So after you've created 2 documents, this should have a sad face on it, because basically we're not letting them delete. And then after that point, you have to upgrade to carry on using the app. So you see it's very, very nice and how we can do it. So adding a document here, we need to go ahead and do that. So this is actually where we're going to mess around with the template placeholder. So heading over to the placeholder document, which we created in the previous days, what we're going to do here is we're going to make sure, firstly, we just need to get access to the user subscription. And I just want to emphasize the point. Isn't it so clean when we create our own custom hook? Like, look at that. All we have to do now is tap into is over file limit, and that's it. And everything will just work, right? So now when we click it right now, you see we had a little comment here saying, check if the user is free tier and so forth. So all we need to do now is basically say, if the user is over the free file limit, send them over to dashboard to upgrade, else you can send them to the upload screen. That's all good, right? So everything works in that way. So now we can basically do that and be sure that it works. Otherwise, what we can do is we can have here, we have a plus icon. I'm simply going to change this to have a ternary operator where we're going to import the frown icon. But if we're over the file limit, we're going to have a sad face. Otherwise, we're going to have a plus icon, right? So firstly, if I hit save now, you'll see straight off the bat, it says a sad face, right? And then we just need to update the P tag to accordingly to this. So I'm just gonna say font semi-bold. If it's over the file limit, upgrade to add more documents. I also add a document, and then we simply change the handle click function based on that behavior as well. So go ahead and hit save. We're gonna block the upload page. Firstly, I love the questions that you're asking, because it means you're dialed in, because that's literally what I would ask if I was watching a tutorial like this. First off, yeah, we will. So in this case, you can go ahead and block that, but I'll show you guys that if we click on this, yeah. Now, if I was to go here, you could do it a couple of ways, right? So you can actually ping them over. You could even go ahead and say you need to update. How did I do it? I think I did it. Let's just see. I think I did it in the file uploader. Yeah, I did it here actually. So I'll show you how I did mine. So inside the file uploader, I actually had it. So let's go ahead and pull in the user subscription. So boom, we're doing all the limitations. So you can see how fast an app can come together once you build it correctly. That's what I love about this. Like really, really, really can do things nicely once you do this. So imagine you want your user to play, right? So imagine they were like, oh no, I'm actually going to try and upload another one. And then you want them to accidentally run into it sometimes and be like, oh, okay, I actually need to update. But I really wanted to, I was so close to answering the question, because you're kind of pushing their urge to use the app, as opposed to just saying, yeah, you need to pay right now before you've done anything. So what we're doing is, when the user actually goes ahead and drops the file, I'm actually going to go ahead and say if file. So here, I'm actually going to say if they're not over the file limit and the files aren't loading, then we'll handle the upload, right? Otherwise, I'm going to do a toast notification saying, yeah, you can't actually do that. You've actually exceeded your maximum number of files. So you see, we're letting them play, and then it's more of an incentive for them to actually go ahead and then say, actually, you know what, I should probably upgrade, right? And again, here you can add that little action as part of your bonus bit of homework, and that's going to help you out. So at this point now, if I was to try and do this, so I'm going to go ahead and open up my chat with PDF. Let's go ahead and drag and drop inside of here, and let's see. Look, free plan limit reached. See how easy that was? All right, so straight off the bat, it will go ahead and block. So now you can be like, okay, boom. And if they try to do it this way, and they'll actually wait, damn it, I guess I need to upgrade. And here I would add a little button to go ahead and say like, yeah, you need to upgrade, and it'll take you to this page, upgrade to Pro. Now we're going to go ahead and test this out. Let's toggle the user to true, and you can see, look at the dev experience that we've built here. Right now, if I go ahead and do this, you see, when they're a Pro member, it goes through. You see how nice this is? Just so clean. Okay, really clean. And I think just like that, I think we've actually done the entire build. I think we raced towards it there. I'm going to go ahead and just double check one thing. I'm going to close this out right now. And you see, we're on the Pro accounts. We can add more documents. Otherwise, it was taking us over there. But I think we're good. Pricing done, Pro account done. All right, let me go run through our checklist. We went ahead and implemented Stripe checkout for payments. Amazing stuff. We built a custom webhook. I'm going to show you how to deploy and set that bit up as well, because we need to obviously tweak a few things. The pricing page, we did. Limiting functionality for the free and pro plans, we did. And I even showed you an awesome way that you can debug it for the dev experience, which is so clean. Implementing the delete functionality, we did. We limited it so free users cannot delete their documents. That way, eventually we'll push them to the edge of their trial. Download, done, deployment. That's it. That's exactly what we wanted to get to. So nice. LFG, I love it. The CRM goes, this entire build flow is so refreshing. That's what I'm talking about, dude. It's so nice and slick. And you see, you can just test it very easily. Everything works the way we kind of wanted it, and it's just super clean. So let's go ahead and jump into and say, hi Chief, how'd you come up with project ideas? Lots and lots of thinking. lots of thinking. Willie's goes 0 to full stack error. Yes, man, you know it. 0 to full stack error is the place to be. All right, so now what we're going to do, guys, is we are actually going to deploy, and I'm going to show you how you can set up your webhooks. But before we do this, I'm going to show you quickly how we can do something nice about this. So if we go to our go to your webhook, right? Go to your webhook, and here you've got the different events that you're going to need to create for. So I want you to push this on one side, push this on the other side. Go to your developer portal inside of Stripe, and I'll show you from the beginning. Click on developers, go to webhooks, go to add endpoint, and here you can go ahead and create your endpoint URL. So let's just do, for example, this. www.example.com/webhook. Okay. Description, you can write whatever you want. Events on connected accounts. This is for Stripe Connect Downline, right? But here, this is what we want to do. So what we want to do now is I want you to go through here and start typing in the following. You type in checkout session dot completed. So I want that one. I want payment intent dot succeeded. That one. I want customer subscription deleted and cancelled. I want subscription schedule, subscription schedule _schedule cancelled. Boom. And then I think that was it. There's 4. Yes, there's 4 events. So heading back over now, we've got one selected, and then add events. So we've got these 4. Payment checkout session completed, payment intent, customer subscription deleted, subscription schedule cancelled. There we go. Go ahead and click on add endpoint. Now, once we've done that, you'll see signing secret reveal. Okay, so in this case right now, obviously I can reveal it just to show you, but this is going to be the environment variable, secret environment variable that we're going to use when we deploy. Very important. Okay, and it's listing to 4. Now what I want you to do as well is we can update the details for the endpoint URL, and this is we will get once we deploy to production. So we're in kind of the limbo state right now, and I'm going to go ahead and show you. I've already showed you how to test it in local using the local emulator that we set up earlier, but I want to deploy this app now. So I want to go over to my terminal. I'm going to say Vercel -- prod. Okay, now again, this will start up our deployment process. However, it will fail, and it will fail because our environment variables are not set correctly. So head over to inspect and go open it up in our browser, and this is in the wrong browser. This should be inside of here. Boom. And I want to go over here. So now head over to chat with PDF or wherever yours is, settings, environment variables. Now we need to add a couple more in, right? So in this case, we haven't got all of our environment variables here. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and show a portion of my screen. So environment.local. So there's a couple of things here. Now I want to go ahead and get the open API key. So in this case, no. So what have we not got yet? So I'm going to go ahead and just double check. We haven't got the 1 minute, guys. Okay, so we need to put in the Stripe API key, the Stripe Webhook secret. So in this case, I need the Stripe API key, the Stripe. Oh, do you know what? I've shown it now. I'm gonna clear this out afterwards. This call, right? Yeah. So in this case, I'm gonna copy all of these. But remember, this is not actually correct. So I'm gonna copy all of these, and I'll show you what I'm doing. So copy them all into here, and then what I want you to do is basically a couple of these need to change. So the Stripe Webhook secret needs to change. So it needs to become the one over here. So if we go down to our webhook, this signing secret, it needs to become that one. So when you're in production, it has to be a slightly different value. Remember that. Don't get it confused. So Stripe Webhook secret is going to be this one. The Stripe API key, yep, that's going to be our test key. Obviously, and you go live, you want to make that production key. Next, Stripe publishable key is fine. Open API key is fine. Pinecone key, Cloud secret key. Next publishable key, Firebase storage bucket. Good. Okay. So at this point now, we're going to click on save, and then go ahead and do that. And then what I want you to do is head back over to your code, close this out. I'm going to do Command J, and then you can see it's errored out. So firstly, it could have errored out for a few reasons. So I just want to confirm that no issue is actually on the build step. So if we do npm run build, we can actually just quickly vet it on our local machine rather than keep on deploying it. And I guarantee I probably slipped up on a silly mistake somewhere. Let it do its thing. But also, just want to say it's absolutely crazy that we're about to finish up the entire SaaS app, which is insane. So that missing dependencies for file uploader, that's actually very important, guys. So I should have completely seen that. So here, when you do npm run build, we're missing files loading, is over limit, and toast. So here we've got to actually put in inside of our file uploader is over limit, files loading, and toast. Make sure you do this. Actually do npm run build locally. The only one I'll say is worth ignoring. Remember, we did this one on purpose on the chat component. We actually did that one on purpose. Abo goes, amazing build. Thank you for the efforts, and you're absolutely welcome, dude. Tomorrow we have such an amazing training that I want everyone to be a part of. It's absolutely huge, guys. You can see there, all good. So now what I want to do is Vercel -- prod. Okay, and this would now deploy to production, and it will ensure that we've actually gone ahead and set up the webhook secret correctly. And we've got one more step with the webhook side of things, which we need to update on. We will do that once we get our deployment production URL, because we need to give Stripe the correct URL to go ahead and trigger off the webhooks from. Okay, so let this do its thing. Aiden goes, this is the first time I stayed from start to finish in a 2-hour stream, except yesterday. I love that. Appreciate you guys sticking around. Let's go ahead and do this. And I love the engagement as well. And everyone's like, copy and paste it. Digital Alchemist goes, grab the whole file. It helps me out, honestly, because sometimes when I'm building, you kind of get caught up and you don't think straight when you're live. Right, so thank you so much, guys. I appreciate that. So in this case, let's go ahead and let this do its thing. Let's go to our deployments. We can see here it's building. This is the production build that we're building right now. Let's click into it. We can see for ourselves what's going on. Yeah, that's the one that we're allowed to accept because I did that on purpose. Yo, Abo, thank you so much. $10 donation. I appreciate you, dude. Thank you so much. W's in the chat. That's it. All right, so in this case, it will deploy. Jay, I need to wipe my keys after the stream. Just remind me to do that. Right, the go, appreciate it, dude. So in this case, we got this down. Let's go ahead and see. This will be done in just a second, and then we should get our deployment URL. And we're so close, guys. So close. So once it's done, even in the CLI, we'll actually go ahead and get it in. And I saw a bunch of you actually had an issue yesterday where it was saying service key wasn't present. That's because you're uploading via GitHub. Remember the service key, we actually ignore it. So we don't show the service key inside of there. So you got to use the CLI to go ahead and push the service key in the correct way. So in this case, boom, we grab this URL, copy it. Before we test anything, I want you to copy it, go to your browser, go over to Stripe, and you see where we had our webhook. I want you to click on update details, and where we have the endpoint URL, paste in that and do / webhook. Right, and again, this doesn't have to be called webhook, but that's what we've named it, right? So in this case, / webhook, and it's doing these events, and we click on update endpoint. Now we're ready to test. Okay, so let's go ahead and check this out. So boom, go over to our PDF, document, where's it here? Chat PDF challenge, and let's give it a test. All right, this is a moment of truth. Yeah. Oh my God, thank you, Sonny. I pushed to GitHub because I got angry. Yeah, see, it can be that exact issue. So this is a live deployment right now. Get started. Let's give it all a full try run. I'm already in. I'm a pro member. You see that? I've already got a paid account. I click into it. Firstly, I should be able to see my okay, so that shouldn't have happened. So we can test out what that was afterwards. Let's go ahead and do this. Boom. I am a pro member. It's probably because I forced it in the state when I shouldn't have. So I need to log into a fresh account. Let me do that. I guarantee that is exactly why, actually. So yeah, I'm logged out. Get started. Let's do it now. So log in. Let's go ahead and log in as a new member. Let's go ahead and do. Actually, you know what? I shouldn't be using this. I actually want to use my other 1 minute. Let's go back. Let's give it a full test. I need to do it in this one, yeah. It's the wrong profile for me to test in. So in this case, boom, get started. Cool. Log in. I actually don't want to use this account because I've actually got something that's hanging already in this environment. But anyway, it's fine. Okay. So there we go. We are here. I am a pro. We can go ahead and see pricing. It will go ahead and say manage plan as well, my documents. Let's firstly try and use the app. So in this case, if I say hi, and obviously I'm just like example, I want to get a quick response from it. There you go. How can I assist today? You can say, tell me about the doc. Boom. And let's just see if that works. Firstly, that'll be your main thing. So let that do its thing. There we go. So firstly, it works. That's amazing. And then if I go into my documents, let's try the upload functionality. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and do. Sorry, I'm so casually going through files there. I should not have done that. That was close. Generating the AI embeddings. Again, remember we're on the free tier, so make sure it's a small document, otherwise it'll go over on your testing environment. This one works as well. Boom, over here. Amazing, right? Let's go ahead and firstly see if the generation works. If that doesn't work, then it's probably because I'm a Stripe yet. So I have a feeling I know why this is not happening. This is most likely due to, so I'm gonna show you how to debug this one as well. So Control Plus, and what we can see is if we go over to Vercel, let's go over to the dashboard on Vercel. We'll open my Vercel dashboard. I'm in an edge case right now. I already know it. Let's go to this one right here. And let's do the logs. Let's go to the deployment firstly. So this one here, ready, logs. And we should be able to see an error, invalid URL, an explicit schema such as HTTPS must be provided. Okay, so here's where I messed up. So I've given an invalid URL, return URL. And the one that I've given it was HTTPS dashboard Stripe. Okay, so I've given the base of the URL, and I believe what's happened here is the Vercel URL from our get base is not giving it's just giving the beginning of the URL. It's not giving HTTPS. So I have a feeling that's it. Let's go ahead and test it out and I'll show you how we do it. So I'm going to go ahead and say npm run. Actually, well, to see this one is a little bit more tricky. So what I'm going to do is go to our lib folder, get base URL, and I believe vercel.url gives us the one. So let's go ahead and do this. So if you type in Vercel URL, system environment variables. Now, it's worth mentioning that this will not give us the actual HTTPS, I believe. So look, this value does not include the protocol scheme HTTPS. There we go. That's why it's happening. Okay, so that's very important there. And look at that, spot on with the analysis. So amazing stuff. So now what we can do is we go over here and we can basically append that in. So we can say HTTPS, boom. Oh, look at the music coming up with the vibe. And now look at that. That is how we would do it. Boom, hit save. And then we can go ahead and do a Vercel prod. And again, your boy is not running from these debugging issues. I'm literally facing them live on stream with you guys. While that's deploying, I want to shout out and make sure that you are signed up for day 5. Okay, so remember, let that do its deployment done. Let that do its deployment. In the viewing room right now, you've got obviously all the links to the homework and everything, so you guys can see right here. I want you to, in the viewing room, go to the top link, click it, and you can go ahead and check this out. Look, you'll get to this page right here. Make sure you reserve your seat for tomorrow, okay? It's crucial because I'm sending only those members all the SaaS challenge code, everything inside of there. You're gonna get I'm doing something huge as well tomorrow. I'm announcing something which I haven't actually announced anywhere yet. Massive news, huge news, right? And that's only happening in tomorrow's stream. So literally be there, do not miss that out. You want to go ahead and sign up to tomorrow's day 5, and the link for that is links.papareact.com/day 5, and I'm going to go ahead and show you where you can go ahead and sign up as well. links.papareact.com/day 5. Make sure you go ahead and sign up for that, right? Huge news. We're going to announce all the winners in tomorrow's training, and I'm giving a whole roadmap as to your development success career, how you can just go ahead and crush it, and how you're not going to get left behind by developers who are leveraging AI to get a head start on you, and they're going to beat you if you're not leveraging it. Period. It's just the way it is. So tomorrow we go for a full training. It's going to be absolutely jam-packed with energy. We've got thousands of people signed up, and it's just going to be absolutely awesome. It's going to be a lot of fun as well. And I announced something absolutely huge. Okay, so let's go over to our app. It's deployed. Check this out. Let's go into the app and see for ourselves. Now let's give it a full chance again. Monopoly Vision goes, awesome Alpha Sunny. Sorry, latecomer. Does the app use the interrogate more than one doc or just one doc at a time? Right now, we're just questioning one document at a time. I think that's what you're asking me, right? So in this case, let's try the pro account now and hopefully we're good. So in this case, look at that. Aha! So nice, guys. So nice. And remember, once you actually go live with this, I want to stress the point that you can see right there. Oh, sorry, go back. What have I done there? Yeah, you see here, it says test mode, right? So all you need to do to get it out of test mode, so you're actually charging real money, is you go into your development and you toggle this. And you're going to need to complete a business profile and a few things like that to go ahead and toggle. So obviously you have to set up a bank so you can actually receive real money. You're probably going to have to ask a couple of little questions and stuff like that. So in order to actually do this for real, but for now, or a portfolio, that's more than enough to go ahead and get you started up. So that's absolutely awesome to go ahead and do. So with that said, let's go back to our application. So I'm gonna go, where is it? No, that's not the one. No, okay, where is it? Okay, I've lost it. Where's my app? Completely lost my app. Let's go over here. Let's go back to the app and we can do a run through of it. Okay, let's do this. Developer. Okay, cool. Now, while that's happening, I'm gonna go ahead and literally wrap up the only way we know how to, because it's been absolutely incredible. Let me do it. So as we go ahead and give a demo of the final day of the app. So this has literally been the final day of the app. We're going to give a little demo of it. We've got a beautiful pricing page, a full SaaS application built out fully for you guys. Go ahead and full delete support. Everything works exactly as we wanted it. Look at that. You can add documents. We limit the user based on their pro or free capabilities. All of these things have been implemented in today's build. You've got your Stripe portal. You've got the Stripe checkout. Everything working the way that we need it. So it's absolutely going to be amazingly powerful for you guys to go ahead and conquer and finish today's build. You can upload your documents. So if I were to go ahead and drag and drop it like so, boom, you can do that. Remember, once you deploy it, I need you to go ahead and give me the production URL and submit it in the homework so you guys can go ahead and do it. And then you can obviously go ahead and say, tell me about the doc. And obviously that's where I'm going to go and test out your accounts. So all of this is powered by Clerk Authentication. Everything is working the way we expect it. So it's going to be absolutely so cool to go ahead and get you guys all of this stuff. Obviously tomorrow, as long as you're signed up, I'm sending out all the code anyway. So, but if you want to be a chance to win all of the prizes, and make sure you go submit your homework for this challenge, right? So this has been the AI SaaS build for this 5-day challenge. You guys can remember all the viewing room, everything that you want to go and check out is available in the viewing room right now. So if you go to the viewing room, you guys can see today's video. Go ahead and follow along, get the head start on the homework, use the community to the absolutely maximum. Go to the community chat right here. And as I mentioned before, guys, this community has been absolutely incredible in helping people out and going ahead. And even like this, right? Someone's asking, should I join? Look, it's 11 people jumped straight into it to go ahead and help out that person to say, yes, you absolutely should be a part of this challenge. What is the harm in doing this, right? So all of this stuff, absolutely incredible, absolutely huge. I want to wrap up. I think we're good, Jay, to go ahead and call it for this one. I want to go ahead and just give you one more little demo of what we did. So let's go ahead and run through what we did in this 3 days of the build process. We built a beautiful landing page, right? So we very conversion focused landing page, Clerk Authentication and middleware, a functional dashboard with shared CN and the header, deployed the build to Vercel. Then we went ahead and did Firebase storage and Firestore, implement the PDF rendering to the chat, all that good stuff. You can go ahead and do this. Pinecone, LangChain, and OpenAI is working in there. It's just so good. And day 4 today, Stripe checkout, custom webhooks, beautiful pricing page, free and pro support, delete, downloads, everything is in there. It's huge. Guys, with that said, I want to see you submit your homeworks, and I'm going to see you in day 5 of the challenge, which is tomorrow. And you need to sign up. links.papareact.com. With that said, it's your boy Sunny, and love and appreciate you all. Peace. Sick. That's it. We just did it. That was 3 days. AI SaaS app done. Crazy. Day 4 complete. Roadmap and finale day 5. It's gonna be so sick, guys. All right. Tuning out. I'm gonna go prepare day 5 to make it as much value as possible. Love and appreciate you all. Submit your homeworks, and I'll see you in day 5 of the build. Peace.